cognitive development, and social readiness. This transformative legislation further empowers the department to standardize admission, language, and school governance policies, ensuring that no learner is excluded based on language, geography, or administrative discretion. Honorable Speaker, we have advanced mother tongue-based bilingual education as a deliberate and strategic instrument to give full expression to the language education policy. This is not merely a pedagogical shift, it is a profound affirmation of linguistic justice, cognitive development, and cultural rootedness of our children. Through MTBPE, we have set the stage for ensuring that learners begin their foundational years in the comfort and clarity of their home language, with carefully phased transition to English and Afrikaans as the medium of instruction only after 6 to 7 years of solid linguistic grounding. This approach enhances comprehension, deepens literacy, builds learner confidence, and bridges the gap between the home and the school. Honorable Speaker, a well-educated, skilled, and empowered youth is the foundation of economic growth, poverty eradication, and good governance. President Cyril Ramaphosa echoed these very sentiments in his opening address during the 2024 July, when he said, I quote, "A well-functioning and quality education system is the foundation upon which economic growth and social transformation must be built." This was further reinforced by the outstanding achievement of the class of 2024 International Senior Certificate Examinations, where the country recorded the highest pass rate of 87%, with nearly half of the learners achieving bachelor passes. Honorable Speaker, in this context, the Free State Province continues to set a national benchmark for academic excellence. In a history an unprecedented achievement, the Free State Province became the first province in South Africa to surpass the 90% mark, achieving a remarkable 91% rate in 2024 NCS results, with 4 out of 5 of our districts performing above 90% pass rate. We have also seen a significant rise in bachelor passes from 44.7% in 2023 to 48.2% in 2024. Honorable Speaker, the 2024 NSC results have powerfully reaffirmed that education performance gap between township and former Model C schools is significantly closing, and that excellence knows no boundaries of geography or privilege. Schools such as Tuto, Lesedi, and Cedar schools, both in Zamdela, Sasolburg, Dikwena Secondary School in Qwaqwa, Orange Grade Combined in Qarib, and Breda Combined School in Forest, have all achieved a 100% pass rate, with exceptional bachelor passes ranging from 81% to 90.4%, a clear evidence of the rising academic quality and improving standards in our township and rural schools. Honorable Speaker, equally inspiring are our top learners hailing from Quantan 1 to Quantan 3 schools. These are Lihlonolo Mokgoto from JC Mutumi SS, that means Senior Secondary School, Ntabele Malakwane from Maransan Senior Secondary School, Puseletso Sosang from Tsebo SS, Litlotlon Tohai from Fender Senior Secondary School, as well as Lerato Khutlane from Ntemoseng Senior Secondary School, who have defied the odds to stand shoulder to shoulder with the best in the province. Our collective commitment to transforming township education represents a beacon of hope and excellence for our people. Honorable Speaker, I'm thrilled on behalf of Mema Boya, by the way, to share yet another cause of celebration. Lihlo Izuko Secondary School girls from Petsane in Reeds were crowned provincial champions of the K. Motsepe School Netball in Bloemfontein in May 2024 under the auspices of Motsepe Foundation. As champions, they qualified for the 30th International Netball Challenge in Singapore in 2023, on the 23rd to the 29th of November 2024. They secured a bronze medal as champions in that particular competition. This showcases a talent, resilience, and global competitiveness of our young athletes in the Free State. Honorable members, that also really deserve a round of applause for our children who have performed very well in the international space. Honorable Speaker, for the past 5 consecutive years, the department has consistently qualified for the infrastructure incentive grant by meeting the planning requirements for the National Treasury and the Department of Basic Education, securing an amount of 474.4 million for the fiscal for the province. In 2024-2025 financial year, the department's strong infrastructure performance and it additional 50 million from National Treasury reallocated from underperforming provinces to further enhances education infrastructure development. Honorable Speaker, in our continued pursuit of service excellence and administrative alignment, we have formally reconfigured the Moteo District Education Department, which is now officially recognized as Mangaung Metropolitan Education District, in line with the latest municipal demarcation dispensation. Furthermore, Honorable Speaker, we are pleased to affirm or to confirm that plans to relocate Qarib Education District offices to its dedicated premises in Tronsberg are at an advanced stage, with a relocation expected to be finalized before the end of the academic year. In the spirit of the African proverb, which says, the sun does not forget a village just because it is small. The relocation will not only improve accessibility and administrative efficiency, but it will also serve as a catalyst for the local development and economic renewal in the heart of Qarib, reminding us that every corner of our province deserves the light of progress. Honorable Speaker, even as we celebrate the successes or these particular successes, we cannot turn a blind eye to the surmountable obstacles that stands in the way of delivering the high-quality education every child deserves. These are recurring budget cuts, convention of eligible grade R, delayed in completion of infrastructure projects, limited information and communication strategy or technology infrastructure, and uneven connectivity to our schools, shortage of qualified teachers, particularly in critical subjects and rural areas, safety of our learners, teachers, and schools. Honorable Speaker, we take this opportunity to remember the passing of Ndate Musiwa Chabahai, a devoted mathematics teacher in Kgololosego Secondary School, who was brutally murdered on the 23rd of September 2024. We also pause to honor the memory of a 13-year-old Mbali Mlamba of Vulindlela Primary School, whose tragic passing on the 8th of April highlights the devastating impact of bullying in our school. We extend our deepest condolences to their families. Honorable Speaker, we do reaffirm our unwavering commitment to eradicating bullying and gender-based violence, strengthening psychosocial support and building a safe, nurturing school environment. Honorable Speaker, we recently finalized the Department 2025 to 2030 strategic plan rooted in the MDTP 2024-2029. Each of our programs in the department emanates from the strategic plan, is purposefully aligned with the 3 strategic priorities of MDTP and directly supports the priorities of the basic education sector for the 7th administration. The province or the provincial department has adopted the following 6 priorities for the current administration. 1, improve access to early childhood development, improve literacy and numeracy skills across the phases of school, improve access to inclusion or inclusive education and strengthening social cohesion, improve access to training and professional development opportunities for teachers and schools management teams, improve safety and quality of schooling environment and infrastructure development, curriculum recovery and offering skills and competencies for the changing world. Honorable Speaker, the above sector priorities will advance the government's national strategic priorities in the following ways. 1, implementation of the 3-stream Model C or model and roll out digital and science education in schools to build the skills sets needed for the economy. The rollout of school infrastructure projects aimed at stimulating local economy, creating of jobs opportunities through initiatives such as internships, Basic Education Employment Initiatives. Honorable Speaker, through the Poor poor policies and programs such as ECD, schools nutrition, no fee paying schools, hostel projects, and learner transport. We will ensure that no learner is left behind whilst cushioning our people from high cost of living. Honorable Speaker, for the 2025-2026 financial year, the Free State Department of Education has been allocated a budget of 18.889 billion, marking a 4.45% increase from the previous financial year of the previous allocation of 17.895 billion. Looking ahead, the MTEF period, it reflects that a projected allocation of 19.632 billion for 2026-2027, a projection of 20.498 billion for 2027-2028. Whilst this upward adjustment is welcomed, it must be acknowledged that it occurs within the broader context of continued fiscal constraint, requiring us to exercise rigorous financial disciplines, innovation in service delivery, and sharper focus on impactful or impact-driven spending. Honorable Speaker, the President's reaffirmation on early childhood development as a national priority, underscoring its vital role in promoting equality and building a just, inclusive society. In 2024-2025, we recorded a significant increase in enrollment from 72,000 to 90,000 children, growing the numbers of centers from 1,400 to 1,500 and ensuring equitable support through subsidies and resources for previously unfunded centers. Infrastructure upgrades completed in Qwaqwa and in Timbeng reinforce safety and quality of compliance with the Children's Act of 2005, which is Act 38. In addition, in 2024, we have successfully trained a total of 1,005 ECD practitioners on the National Curriculum Framework, upskilled 291 ECD practitioners towards the NQF Level 4, so that every classroom is led by professionals equipped with the latest early learning methodologies. Honorable Speaker, in 2025-2026 financial year, we have allocated a budget of 335.8 million ECDs. Our Bana Bill mass registration drive will ensure that 1,000 or will show 100 new ECD centers are formally registered and integrated into South African school administration and management systems, ensuring no child is excluded from the education system. This drive will ensure that 75,705 eligible children receive crucial early childhood support. An estimated total of 6,993 children stands to benefit from this particular subsidy compared to the 2024-2025 financial year. Amongst others, the subsidy is meant to provide such needed nutrition, preventing stunting and malnutrition. As part of paying homage to Nelson Mandela's legacy and honoring the ANC commitment to restore dignity, we will upgrade the infrastructure of 15 ECD centers aimed at eliminating pit toilets in ECDs in Tabanchu, Zastron, Qwaqwa, and Virginia. Honorable Speaker, the enactment of the Bella Act has declared Grade R as a compulsory entry point into formal schooling. In 2024, we trained 640 Grade R teachers and assessed 565 learners across 103 schools and ECD sites for school readiness at both the start and the end of the year. Honorable Speaker, in 2025-2026, we will provide learning material, classroom furniture, and expand access to structured learning opportunities. We will also construct 51 new Grade R classroom across 17 schools, a decisive step towards universal Grade R access. Recognizing that the quality of education is directly linked to teacher competence, we will train the following officials: 600 Grade R practitioners on perpetual school skills, equipping them with structured early learning manuals, 300 Grade R teachers in ECD centers, and 650 Grade R teachers in numeracy. Honorable Speaker, in response to the reading crisis and a poor performance in mathematics highlighted in the progress report of International Reading Literacy and Study report of 2021, and the trends in International Mathematics and Science Study report of 2023 respectively. The department has conducted a baseline language and mathematics assessment in over 190 primary schools. We have capacitated over 7,000 educators through a targeted training and initiatives including the following: the Jolly phonics training for 1,200 grade R teachers, reading methodology training for 500 for grade 2 teachers, primary schools reading improvement programs, reading enrichment programs for 1,000, reading enrichment program for 137 and 90 grade 1 to grade 7 learners. Honorable Speaker, an estimated amount of 6 million has been set aside for the implementation of the Provincial Literacy and Numeracy Strategy in 2025-2026. To ensure effective implementation, we have actively rallied parents, SGBs, primary schools across the province, securing the buy-in around centering primary education as a program and the backdrop of future academic success. Addressing the reading crisis remains a top priority as we strive to strengthen fundamental or foundational literacy and numeracy skills. As a result, to boost curriculum delivery and subject leadership across key learning areas, we will: 1, provide learning and teaching support material, conduct teaching development program, conduct learner enrichment program, as well as ensuring that 300 learners will participate in the language enrichment activities in the new financial year. Honorable Speaker, inclusive education lies at the heart of our constitutional commitment to quality, dignity, and access for all. In 2024-2025 financial year, the department made substantial strides towards the following: 1, out of the 3 hostels that we are currently building, one of them, namely Orange Krag, has been completed while construction is underway in Pitumelo, in Tabanchu, and Tronsberg in Clarib. Honorable Speaker, in the 2025-2026 financial year, we are scaling up our commitment to inclusive education with renewed energy and resources. An amount of 1.7 million has been set aside to continue the rollout of specialized CIAS training for teachers and officials. We are allocating 33 million through the Learners with Severe to Profound Intellectual Disability grant to enhance support for these children, including the provision of accessible devices, specialized learning and teaching support material, and the employment of therapists and caregivers. Schools or scholar transport for special school learners is also receiving a boost to ensure reliable, accessible mobility. We are advancing the repurposing of schools like Monyati Primary School in Bloemfontein, Refihlile Primary School in Botshabelo, Dirisana Primary School in Tabo, Villas Combined School in Villas, Pitumelo Special Schools in Tabanchu, and Ikanyegen Combined Schools in Jacobsdal into schools of skills, offering technical occupational curricula that equip learners with practical skills in fields such as agricultural studies, consumer studies, civil, mechanical, and electrical technology, hairdressing, personal care, and ancillary health care. Honorable Speaker, annually, we are proudly recognizing and celebrating our Free State educators who have shown excellence in teaching through National Teaching Awards. Tiseso Daniel Chaka of Tibulua Special Schools took the first place in special needs training and drove away with a car. Alina Mojobo Tikhang of Pumulom Public School and second place in grade R teaching, and Lucia Mubongiwe Kele of Tisetsang Secondary School secured the third place in secondary school leadership. Honorable Speaker, for the 2025-2026 financial year, we have allocated a budget of 44,451,000 for professional development and psychosocial support in underperforming schools. This includes resources for teacher wellness, resilience building initiatives, and continued participation in the National Teaching Awards. Thus, we will be implementing a robust program of professional development, governance strengthening, and psychosocial support to improve the quality of education delivery. In addition, we will train 1,000 ECD practitioners. We will also ensure that foundation phase educators on effective subject content and methodology, as well as the teaching of reading. 1,200 teachers on digital literacy and ICT integration. Honorable Speaker, ensuring safe, dignified and future-ready learning environment is not only a policy imperative, it is a moral obligation. In 2024-2025 financial year, we installed a security fencing in 47 schools, safeguarding schools, learners, and educators. We trained 1,000 school safety committee members, including SGB representatives, safety officers, and probation practitioners, to implement the school's specific safety plans. Our strategy includes values-driven education and positive behavior change through community dialogues, learners ambassador programs, and a transformative partnership with SACRO to cultivate safety champions in schools. In 2025-2026, a budget of 5 million has been set aside for school safety, and our interventions will focus on the following. One, broadening of search and seizure. Somebody is reading with me and it's disturbing. It's reading quite loudly, Honorable Speaker, and it's disturbing the process that I'm busy with now. Broadening in search and seizure operations in collaboration with law enforcement agencies. Broadening of anti-crime campaigns to reach 10,000 learners across various districts. Facilitation of dialogues of 1,000 grade 8 and 9 learners on violence prevention, substance abuse, and bullying and gangsterism. Honorable Speaker, in 2024-2025, we completed 3 new schools: Dr. DR Solo Primary School in Ramulutsi Fuljonskron, Malebogo Primary School in Hersoville, and Albert Genoot Primary School in Mangaung, which we are in the process of renaming after the late Free State MEC Ndate, Dr. P.H.I. Magwe. Currently, 6 new schools and 3 replacement schools are under construction, each at varying stages of completion. Honorable Speaker, an amount of 1.085 billion has been allocated for the 2025-2026 financial year for the infrastructure development. As part of our continued commitment to expanding access and addressing overcrowding, procurement processes will commence in the new financial year for the construction of 3 schools: Khotso Taole Technical School in Botshabelo, Tuto Kilisedi Secondary School in Sasolburg, and Langenhoven Park Comprehensive School in Bloemfontein. In addition, this investment will enable us to facilitate, amongst others, construction of 51 new grade R classrooms, renovation of 15 ECT centers, development of 2 centers, state-of-the-art science laboratories, and critical maintenance and upgrading of 43 schools. Furthermore, through these upgrades, we will be repurposing some of the academic schools into technical, agricultural, and arts schools, amongst others. For technical education, schools including Kabo, Kaba, Ring, Kokodia, JC Mutumi, Kutlwanong, Nebuser, Moroka, Kwetliso will be enhanced for the industry-aligned skills to support agricultural education. We are transforming Pitlhehelo Secondary School in Makwallo, Friede, Houtfeld Secondary School in Welkom, Freehoek Intermediate Schools in Welkom, Bensvlei Combined School in Bloemfontein, and Friede Primary School in Friede into agricultural training hubs. In the creative arts, Makwane Secondary School will be repurposed into a dedicated Articon school, cultivating talent and careers in the growing creativity or creative economy. Furthermore, recognizing our constitutional obligation in inclusive education, we are repurposing schools with underutilized classrooms in each district to support learners with moderate intellectual disability. These schools will offer specialized programs that equip learners with practical life vocational skills, empowering them for long life independence and meaningful economic participation. Honorable Speaker, in addition to the above-mentioned infrastructure improvement, the department will provide existing schools with ablution blocks, 11 schools to be precise. Additional classrooms to 5 schools, securing fences to 51 schools, laboratories to 50 schools, nutrition centers to 3 schools, and admission blocks to 10 schools. We are taking bold and unapologetic steps to safeguard schools from persistent water and electricity disruptions. In 2025-2026, we will implement targeted alternative water provision in 10 of our schools, including water sourcing, purification, and ensuring a minimum of 48 hours on-site storage. Honorable Speaker, our technical schools increased from 29 in 2024 to 31 in 2025. Additional 15 more schools have introduced digital technology in grade 8 and grade 9, embedding vital skills in coding and automation and artificial intelligence. In addition, through the co-funded PROMETS project with Invest and Harmony Gold Mining Limited, respectively, we provided targeted mathematics and science support to 2,000 grade 10 to grade 12 learners across 3 districts, ensuring expert guidance in the 3 critical subjects. In 2024, August, we successfully hosted the 5th Provincial Technical School Skills Competition, where 117 learners and 56 teachers demonstrated their technical mastery. This skills competition has become a launchpad for talent, with 5 learners earning national recognition, including one securing a prestigious 300,000 bursary, a clear proof of untapped potential that exists in our province. Honorable Speaker, in our current financial year, through Maths, Science, Technology grants, we have allocated 51.1 million to enhance and expand existing interventions in STEM subjects, which will allow us to, 1, equip 23 technical schools offering electrical technology in grade 8 and grade 9, support 31 schools offering civil technology in grade 8 and grade 9, procure practical assessment task material for 33 technical schools. Through our partnership with MTN, the department has launched a tailored learner management system and will equip quintile 1 to 3 schools with 20,000 tablets, focusing on key subjects like maths, science, and technology. Honorable Speaker, in view of the strategic partnership with Chemical Industry Education and Training Authority, we are proud to highlight the transformation of the former Tia College of Education in Qwaqwa into a center of excellence in skills development. As a key outcome of this partnership, a state-of-the-art Smart Skills Center will be officially handed over to the Free State Department of Basic Education by the Minister of Higher Education and Training, Honorable Minister Nobuhle Nkabane, in July 2025. This innovation facility will provide access to virtual reality platforms for engineering-related programs and essential digital skills training, empowering our rural communities and bridging the digital gap. Honorable Speaker, in our pursuit of a future-ready education system, we are proud to launch the multi-certification pilot project, empowering learners to graduate with national senior certificate and multiple industry-related qualifications. This year, we will see more of our learners enrolling in graduating with additional facilities or certificates, boosting our employability and access to further opportunities in the following short courses. 1, agricultural sector. 300 grade 10 to 12 learners will be gaining vital skills in sheep handling, animal health, and lamb rearing. We have established a Hendrik Potgieter Agricultural Schools as a dedicated training hub with Seotlong, Trio, and Unicorn schools joining as additional centers to ensure sustainability. In the engineering sector, 45 grade 12 learners will receive arc welding certificates through SA track bodies. In the telecommunication sector and ICT, we will facilitate provision of short courses certificate in cybersecurity, digital marketing, and data analytics in partnership with MTN. We'll also provide accredited short courses on ICT infrastructure, basic software and hardware, domain and cloud computing in partnership with Huawei. Honorable Speaker, basic education initiative is quite critical to basic education. Therefore, a total of 15,249 young people were employed across the Free State Province through the Basic Education Employment Initiative Phase 4. This particular phase made sure that we place in all schools through the province. In the new financial year, a total of 11,408 employment opportunities will be created. This is expected to ensure that placement of 9,570 education assistants in 784 schools across all districts. Honorable Speaker, we made tangible progress through internships and work-integrated learning programs, ensuring that young graduates and young people gain invaluable skills and experience to access sustainable employment. 25 social work interns were appointed in 2023. And in 2024, their employment was turned from internship to permanent employment. We appointed 114 interns in administration and 48 young people across 5 districts as change agents for teaching and learning on 3-year contract basis. The number of change agents for teaching and learning has been increased to 70 for the new financial year. We have also appointed 116 young people as interns, 83 of whom have just commenced their internship on the 1st of April 2025. Honorable Speaker, in 2024-2025 financial year, the expanded public works program created 218 job opportunities, directly offering much more needed employment opportunities, mainly in Kharib communities. In 2025-2026 financial year, the department will create 179 EPWP employment opportunities with a deliberate focus on capacity building and building specifically for Kharib Education District. Honorable Speaker, we have intensified the effort to eliminate socio-economic barriers that hinder learner success. In 2024-2025 financial year, we strengthened the National School Nutrition Program, where we saw 595,339 learners in 775 schools receiving nutrition on daily basis. Looking ahead in 2025-2026 financial year, a budget of 592,500 million has been set aside to increase the number of learners benefiting from NSNP to 600. This will be complemented by placement of 3,338 voluntary food handlers. Honorable Speaker, over the past 5 financial years, the department achieved unqualified audit outcomes, reflecting accurate and complete financial reporting. We are intensifying the effort to strengthen our financial management and operational efficiencies in 2025-2026. Honorable Speaker, in 2025-2026 financial year, the department will enhance some of its successes, including an allocation of 8.5 million to expand mass participation in national building program in a form of sports recreation activities targeting 8,500 learners across the district, strengthening the sports, youth creation, arts and culture leadership programs by training 2,500 learners as part of this particular program, expanding the value in education program to reach 12,000 learners in 2025-2026 financial year. Honorable Speaker, we remain unwavering in our commitment to forge dynamic and strategic partnership with private sector and key stakeholders through targeting corporate social responsibility initiatives. These partnerships are not merely transactional, they are transformative vehicles for social economic empowerment, particularly for women and youth in our province. To give full expression to this vision, the department will convene a partnership summit in 2025, which will serve as a catalytic platform to mobilize, support, align efforts, and foster purposeful collaboration between government, business, and civil society. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, we call on our educators, parents, community leaders, and corporate partners to collaborate with us in building a stronger and much more brighter future for every child in our province. Let's this budget be more than just numbers. Let it be a collective commitment to making education a fundamental right, not a privilege. As Mam Charlotte Matlake once profound said, if you can rise, bring someone with you. It is in this very spirit that we as the department deeply believe that education is the most powerful tool for transformation, and that together we will ensure that every child in the Free State Province reach their full potential for a prosperous future. On behalf of Member Boya, Honorable Speaker, I will take this opportunity to extend my appreciation to the organization, which is the African National Congress, the Free State Premier, Member Queen Leswa Matai, members of the Executive Council, and members of the Portfolio Committee for their unwavering support and guidance that they always provide. We are indebted to the people of the Free State Province, school governing bodies, organized labor, QLTC structures, schools leadership teams, teachers, corporate partners, NGOs, CBOs, municipalities, provincial departments, universities, churches for their contribution and tireless support. To the family of Member Boya, on her behalf, thank you very much. But the most appreciation goes to Advocate Malakwani, who is the head of the Department of Education, together with his team in the Department of Education. Thank you very much, colleagues. I thank you.
Thank you. I'll now call upon the Honorable Member Mbalula.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, Member Queen Letsoa Matai, MEC Maboya in absentia, and members of the Free State Legislature, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Honorable Speaker. We support the 2025-26 budget vote as presented by MEC Manche on behalf of MEC Maboya. This is not just a budget, but this is a radical statement that in the Free State, education is a right, not a privilege. This budget demonstrates the ANC-led government's firm commitment to changing lives, restoring the dignity, and developing the human capital that is needed for an inclusive economy that will be sustained. Erbare Speaker, die Vrystaat is a toonbeeld van uitnemenderheid in die land op die onderwysfront. Ho bolelang fela hore mona Vrystaat education continue to be a model of excellence. For 6 straight years, our province has been #1 in all the matric results. We have made history this year. A 91% national senior certificate pass rate and a significant increase in the bachelor passes. This is a transformation happening. This is what results from the combination of good policy and leadership of the people. In this Youth Month, we should not forget that education was the cause of 1976 uprising. We pay tribute to those warriors by ensuring that every child from Kwakwa to Harib received an education that frees the mind and broadens their future. As Tata Nelson Mandela so famously said, and I quote, "It is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become head of the mine, that the child of a farm worker can become the president of a great nation." Close quote. The legacy lives on today in students like Kamuhelo Musikidi, who is our 2023 top achiever. Kamuhelo Musikidi overcame poverty, crime, and hardship, and is now studying computer science at the University of Cape Town. The ANC made that possible. We not only talk progress, but we make it. But, Honorable Speaker, as we are constructing schools and training teachers and turning townships into centers of excellence, some here in his house refuse to see this evidence in front of them. As Frantz Fanon once wrote, I quote, "Sometimes people hold a core belief that is very strong. When they are given evidence against what they believe, the new evidence cannot be accepted." Close quote. Now, that is precisely the problem with the Democratic Alliance and the EFF. They have chosen political fiction instead of educational fact. They drive around communities sharing half-truths, painting the ANC as a failure, even in the face of undeniable progress. They are the ones who claim the ANC has destroyed education, yet they never discuss the hostel in Oranjekrag, which was built for farm children. They do not say anything about the 51 new grade R classrooms built, the 15 ECD centers being improved, the tens of thousands of children rescued from hunger because of National Nutrition Program. They say we neglect the youth when more than 15,000 youth have been given work exposure through BEEI, and learners now earn multiple certifications in agriculture, welding, tourism, ICT, all thanks to the ANC policies and partnerships. In education, if education is seriously in crisis, as they say, then how come the Free State churns out top-achieving learners year after year? Let's be clear, the ANC is not simply in our communities, but we are changing them. This budget is about real lives. It serves children in no-fee schools. It gives students with disability agency. It promotes resilience, closes the digital divide, and salutes every township and rural school that dares to dream beyond its immediate horizon. Honorable Speaker, the DA and the EFF must desist from weaponizing people's struggles for political mileage. They should head to the trenches, to these schools, to these learners, and see for themselves the change they are so quick to dismiss. Let us continue to stand behind MEC Maboya's budget as presented by MEC Manje today. In this regard, his leadership demonstrates that with political will, a community partnership, and a values-driven transformative vision of education can be a cornerstone of a few just in society. Let us recall the words of Mama Charlotte Maxeke in saying, If you can rise, bring someone with you. Through this budget, we rise today and we lift millions with us. And as we committed in 1955 Freedom Charter, in which a clause that states that the doors of learning culture shall be open, we will continue on this journey as the African National Congress until all society is free. Thank you very much.
We give you 13 minutes to use only 7 of that minute. Honorable, oh, it's Friday, so you're in a hurry. Honorable Tute. Well,
thank you, Speaker. In the grand scheme of a provincial budget, R1 million might not seem like much, especially in a department that gets the lion's share. But that mindset, ach, dis nie baie nie, is exactly why we are in this mess. Because R1 million is significant. Let me tell you why. In 2023, this department launched a project to build a school nutrition center at AJC University School in Petersburg. This contract went to a company named Mkize Kwabe Properties, a company who, according to themselves, have experience in marketing, copywriting, and event coordination. But nothing about construction. And now, just as we've come to expect, under the ANC government, the site is abandoned. No construction, no progress. Boitlamo Batenkai Imisimbalula. But over R1 million has been paid to a company operating from Sandton in Gauteng. Still, the learners of the AJC University School have no nutrition center, just empty promises and an empty lot. Speaker, wie is die mense wat ons aanstel om ons geld so te mors? Now let's talk about the promised school in Langehoven Park. What's been built so far? A fence. That's it. During the ballot process, we stressed the urgent need for new schools. But has a contractor been appointed? Who knows? But at least there's a fence. And now with ballot making grade R compulsory, the pressure mounts. More teachers, more learners. But during ProPac, this very department admitted they can't afford the added pressure of grade R in the department. They're already buckling under the wage bill, so how exactly do they plan to fund this? Speaker, R1 million may be a small number on a spreadsheet, but in competent hands, it could have made a difference. Build a classroom, hired a teacher, or fed hundreds of children. Instead, under the ANC mismanagement, it's just gone with nothing to show. A failed project and a fence, fantastic failures by the ANC. This isn't a funding problem, Speaker, it's a leadership problem, a competence problem, a governance problem. And it's our children who are paying the price. Thank you, Speaker.
Dr. Fogo.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, Honorable Members, as umkhondo wesizwe in this province, Honorable Speaker, we are saying, Honorable Speaker, we agree that education is the best in this province. Free State is having 3,035 schools spread across 138 cities and towns in the province. But, Honorable Speaker, that number other schools are depleted. Other schools are not working. Other schools, they are not having toilets. Speaker. Re reng ka bana ba rona ba eleng hore ba tsamaya dikolo tseo ka budget ena e tswileng ya hore bana ha bana di toilete, ha bana metsi dikolong tsa rona tsa mapolasing. E re ke tlwaetse ding tsa dikolo tse leng hore Honorable Speaker di maemong a mabe haholo mane Vaihu Combined School in Machabeng hona le bothata mo bana ba grade 6 le grade 5 ba ithutela ka classeng e le nngwe mahlabisa ditlhong a makalo hore o fumane thuto e leng hore ke thuto e ka pele ho wena kapo ke thuto e ka tlase ho wena o so fitile ka ra yona ke tse ding tsa dintlha tso tshwantse re di lokise re shebe mane garipi mane Honorable Speaker mo e leng hore dikolo teng ha di so hlabollwe tse ding di tlositswe mo tshwantseng di tloswe teng di santseng di kwetswe le hona jwale ha ona dikolo mo baneng ba rona ba mapolasi re shebile hape mapolasing ke ka ho re kadileng ka hore re na le dikolo tse 3035 ka hara Free State empa tse ding tsa tsona ha di sebetse jwale Honorable Speaker re hloka tlhabollo e kgolo haholo dikolong tsa rona tsa bana ba rona ba mapolasing be leng hore ba tsamaya tsela e telele ho fitlella dikolong ha re bui ka yona eo hoba budget ena ha ya etsetswa le bona hape hore ba kgone ho fitlella dikolong ke ka ho ba sa fitleng dikolong Honorable Speaker ke a leboha Honorable Speaker.
Honourable Member Leach.
Honourable Speaker, the Free State Province performed exceptionally well during the 2024 schooling year, achieving a 91% grade 12 pass rate. Or did it? In 2013, 66,915 learners enrolled for grade 1. And in 2024, of those, only 33,039 learners wrote the final grade 12 examination. Taking this alarming dropout into consideration, the true pass rate is brought down to just under 50%. Over the years, there has been a serious lack of progress towards the intervention in the dropout rate by the provincial department. While more and more young lives are robbed of their futures, we know that many learners had to overcome severe socio-economic and other circumstances to reach grade 12 and sit their examinations. The Free State must emulate the National Department of Education's proposed strategic reorientation towards early childhood development and the foundation phase, such as the successful rollout of the Jolly Phonics, including training grade 2 teachers, as well as the plans to develop systems with the ability to track each learner's path through basic education, including those that move to independent or private schools or TVET colleges to complete their schooling. Then truly will no child be left behind. The Department of Education receives the highest percentage of this province's equitable share. For the 2025-2026 financial year, 18.889 billion rand of the total 45.856 billion rand is budgeted for this department. The department is also the largest contributor to employee costs and will spend around 14.1 billion on salaries during the financial year. Nonetheless, this is a labour-intensive department. However, upon earlier inquiry, it was indicated that the department does not plan for maternity leave expenses. Therefore, it does not budget to pay coverage for teachers who take such leave. This lack of foresight is the reason the department finds itself with unforeseen expenditure. One would think that taking into consideration that most teachers are female and many are of childbearing age, the department would have a formula to foresee such expenses. In addition to this, there are numerous cases where teachers are suspended, but where the disciplinary processes take years to finalize, all while 2 teachers are paid to fill 1 position. This places an additional burden on the department, money that could be used to employ more teachers or help to improve in other areas. Honourable Speaker, safety in our schools is not optional, and there's no such thing as half measures when it comes to protecting young lives in places of learning. According to the 4th quarter crime stats for 2024-2025, 8 rape incidents occurred at Free State educational institutions, with 7 of the 8 happening at our schools. 8 assaults occurred with the intent to inflict grievous bodily harm and 1 attempted murder. This, MEC, through you, Honourable Speaker, is simply unacceptable. During the last financial year, it was reported that 649 employees of the Free State Department of Education had criminal records, including murder, rape, and drug trafficking. Recently, a teacher from the Makabelane Technical School was found guilty of sexual assault, one of many examples of the significant threats faced by learners in the schooling system. Also concerning is the fact that the department is not compelled to criminally charge perpetrators, which remains the responsibility of the affected learners' parents or guardians. Safety in and around schools must be a priority. Other issues like the theft of school assets and break-ins at school hostels must also be a priority. The Honourable MEC must look at possible legislation where officials are compelled to report sexual offenders and that perpetrators are listed as sex offenders with the SAPS and other databases to ensure that they do not teach again. Our children must be safe, and the job starts with us. We must do more to protect our future, and we must match these efforts by supporting families during those times when they need it the most. Another issue that runs like a plague through our schools is the basic management capacity of the school management teams. As seen on various visits to schools across the province and through complaints received from residents, too many are made powerless by either a district director who wants to cash in on the school's money or department officials who appoint their friends in school management positions in order to receive kickbacks. Honourable Speaker, these are some issues that arise when a child is already in school, but getting there is another problem they must face. Thousands of our scholars must walk dangerously long distances to get to school. They must sometimes face severe weather conditions and unsafe roads. This because of a significant lack of safe scholarly transport services and our roads. And in areas where the services is available, buses are unroadworthy, and contract mismanagement and corruption all come to the forefront of the problems we see in our scholar transport services. Our children show up to school exhausted. This directly influences the value of the education received in the classroom and is ultimately reflected in learners' school results. An example of this is the road between Excelsior and Tweespruit, which is now under construction again, but where children have to wake up very early just to get to school on time. We often hear about children being hit by a vehicle or their way home from school. Not too long ago, this happened right here in Bloemfontein in front of Central Primary School. Honourable Speaker, our classrooms are overfull with an average of 40 to 50 learners per classroom. Our infrastructure and resources are not built for such large classes. More importantly, children are not receiving the necessary attention and getting quality education they deserve, with too many falling through the cracks. We need to work towards the appointment of more qualified teachers and to make the class sizes smaller. This is only possible if we can build more classrooms. We need to invest in schooling infrastructure and perhaps capitalize by extending schools and adding classrooms to the schools that are already performing well. We have seen examples where projects came to a standstill in February and March, and this was due to funds running dry. Infrastructure projects at schools such as Hobhouse, Welkom, Riebeekstad, Amelia, Volpark and Tweespruit, to name a few, also came to a halt, and then the department, out of the blue, announced a new school to be built in Langenhoven Park, without the necessary plans on the table and without the necessary stakeholder meetings. We had to read about it in the news. The DA welcomes new projects and the possibilities they provide for learners, but it is imperative that these projects are completed on time and within budget. This means implementing better financial planning to ensure that contractors are paid on time and throughout the year. Ensuring that the work the department is invoiced for has actually been done. Additionally, these standstills disrupt the learning process and day-to-day classroom activities. It also poses an unnecessary health risk. Small grade R learners being forced to walk past building sites and machinery just to use the bathrooms. Honourable MEC, through you, Mr. Honourable Speaker, it is vital that we look at the security and well-being of our learners on a day-to-day basis from grade R throughout to matric. Only focusing on matric does not bring about a fortunate or a positive outcome. And when we look at the amount of money that's being put into this department specifically, we cannot say that we get value for money. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Mokoena.
Speaker, honorable members of the Free State Legislature, public in the gallery. Excuse me. Speaker, I rise to thank the ANC, the movement of the people. The movement of the people who suffered oppression and are still battling its legacy. I want to thank this movement, Speaker, today, because upon taking power in 1994, the government of the ANC increased the budget of education from 10 billion in 93 to 332 billion in 2025. This is what you will never be told. Speaker, this government has built after 25,000 schools to today, that the matric or grade 12 rate moved from 37% in 93 to about 87% in 2024. The Free State government budget moves from 19 billion in the current financial year to about 20 billion over the MTF. That this government has introduced new areas that will ensure that the grade 12s will leave school with work-ready qualifications. They will never say it. It is still very difficult to extract the truth from some of our public representatives. They will never tell you, Speaker, that this government has conducted a training, including to upskill, of about 1,005 of our ECD teachers as part of making mainstreaming, ECD centers to prepare our children for early learning. They will stand here, complain about contractors being payment, no public participation in some schools in Langoven Park, but they'll never tell you why they oppose the Bella Act. This is the hypocrisy that we live with. These are parties that come from the history of exclusion and building barriers using language. In terms of their view, Bella Act centralizes power, it diminishes SGB and local community in making decisions about language and admission policy. It centralizes these decisions with an HOD, and they want this to go back to the SGBs. Yesterday, they were telling us that government decision-making power must be removed from the politicians, be placed to the administration in the name of professionalism. When it suits them, take power to officials because it's professionalism. When it doesn't suit them, I take power away from officials who are over-centralizing it. In our view, with the history of the country that we have, Bella Act protects learners' rights. It abolishes corporal punishment, makes grade R compulsory. It encourages language inclusivity. It kills incidents where children will be excluded on the basis of them being a minority in a particular area. But the party that represents the minority right today fights when we deal with a minority that happens to be black in certain instances. It's quite interesting, Speaker, that none whatsoever, including the MKP, will stand here and say, ANC government, thank you for building new 6 additional schools in the last financial year. They'll never say that. They'll complain about the schools in the farming areas, the buses that are not roadworthy. The police must arrest those people. If I'm in opposition, I'll stand here and say, tell the police to go and arrest them. But when you talk about police imperatives, you tell us about buses that are not roadworthy. What exactly are you telling us? You took the policy issue, which is a Bella Act, to court because you do not want it. You are dealing with an opposition that will never be willing to say anything good about this country, as long as they are not in charge. Where they are in charge, when Rupert tells them the truth, they gun for him. I'm coming to that. They will never tell you that in our schools today we do agriculture, engineering, tourism, telecoms, and ICT. It's like these are foreign languages that they are not able to say. They are prepared to say, therefore I thought the matter is, instead of just conceding to the pure simple facts. Now, it is tiring when you sit with parties that are supposed to be enriching the policy direction of the party. All what they do, they bring anecdotes, complain. They are not able to say, this is what we can do best for our country. The Free State opposition is something else, Speaker. And that's why I thank the government of the ANC for maintaining the course. If you are not doing anything, you will see problems. But if you are doing something, you will see progress, even if you make mistakes. Ours is an opposition that they wish that they were in another province. I don't know why they don't pack and go there. I really feel for those who elected them, because their heart is not with the people of the Free State. It is with the people of another country somewhere. It is very difficult, Speaker, with the 3 minutes that the Freedom Front Plus will have, for them to say, as Freedom Front, we acknowledge that the Bella Act will resolve the problem of African students who are being excluded on the basis that Afrikaans is not their home language in the section where we operate. I'm waiting to hear that. EFF ran away. Of course, they ran away because they were clobbered in copies. Had they won, they will be here with their red overalls. They also ran away from answering the mess they have caused that we saw with Trump there. I said, I'm coming back to that. Because they are not willing to take responsibility. You can never lead if you are in opposition benches and fail to take responsibility about some of the mess and the problems they are causing for us. It's easy to say things recklessly, but the damage done to the country, you then want to tend to blame it on the ANC government. The DA, I've already said, they are in court on the Bella Act. They basically take to court everything that is transformatory. And then they come to you and say, no, we will do better when we represent you. When you deal with the legacy of the past, they say, no, we've got a problem. You are doing apartheid in reverse. You are not doing well. There's nothing good that the ANC government has done, and therefore your people must vote for us so that we can lead them. Let's expose myth number 1. Rupert stands in the White House and say the meta capital is the Cape Flats. You saw how DA unleashed its media on Rupert because he was telling them the truth. You know, to them the truth is meta capitals in all provinces that are governed by African leaders. The truth is not in the Cape Flats, and they hate him for that today. They didn't want to say it. Their leader was speaking English, therefore I thought the matter is when he was told that you are the Minister of Agriculture, answer if there is white genocide in South Africa. Some fellow with a long tail was saying, no, these are no graveyards of no African, of white farmers. The Boers, they have been killed, thousands of them. Has the Democratic Alliance ever issued a statement and say it's a lie about our country? They've never said that as the official opposition. They will never say it because there's nothing that will come out of a government that is led by a black person. It's a racist party inherently. It's a pity that they've got some of us who are addressing them. It's time that we take this party to task. We expected them to stand here and take us to task on policy issues where we are faltering, not on anecdotes. This is a party that will deny, that the conditions of the road have been improved even when they are driving on that particular road. When they drink a clean water from a tap that is built by the ANC government, they will deny that there's water in that. This is how they are leading the country. They will deny that ANC government has done good in terms of education. DA. I'm going to sit on them because they are the official party, official opposition. They must be forced to take responsibility. They are leading a particular section that if they continue to mislead, we will see people.
I won't do the Honourable Member, please.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I would like to know whether the member would take a question.
Will you take a question?
When I'm done addressing Trump, I will. Speaker, if I may continue. We are sitting with a problem in this country where we are rebuilding from a legacy of white minority super exploitation that has inherently destroyed many communities, that has reduced the African majority to nothing. Over 30 years, there's a number of things that we have changed, with a lot of mistakes, of course. But you can never get the country right when we've got an official opposition party that is never able to stand up in the interest of the country and the patriotism we saw Rupert showing in the White House and say, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, you are doing right. This is 1, 2, 3 that you are doing wrong. Even when we have given the ministries at the national government to run, it is difficult for them to say so. I feel for the Minister of Education, who is sitting there and having to battle with these contradictions that you see within this particular party. A damage is being done to this country by the failure of these parties to concede that in the interest of the country, one of the things that we have done and invested properly is education. That we are doing well on the education front, that we've produced many graduates that have gone to make the country proud, that this country is turning the corner in terms of many developmental challenges that it has faced, that we are sitting with budget challenges that are making the country to make very difficult choices to invest in the future.
How could you do that?
Honourable Speaker, do I understand MEC Mukwena correct that the truth of the opposition is not the truth? Thank you.
The Minister of Agriculture should have been bold to tell Trump there's no white genocide in South Africa. That's the simplest statement he should have made. But it is difficult because he will have affirmed the black government is saving under. He said there with some movie being played. This is where we saw the country being failed at the highest level. Betrayal of the highest disorder. We might have issues on class basis with Rupert, but he stood firm and told the truth. The problems that the country is faced with. Opposition in this country, they are behaving as an opposition to the people that they claim to represent, to their development and to progress. Our children, the generation of this, the future generations of this country, they deserve to be told the truth. That in this country, you don't have to be the enemy of progress, the enemy of the majority to be in the opposition. That the minority and the majority can exist alongside as long as they're united by the common shared patriotic interest of the country. What we see in our opposition is far from that. There's nothing, Speaker, that will represent or will present here as the ruling party. Even if we can kill unemployment 100%, I'm telling you, neither EFF, DA, or the Freedom Front will stand here and say, we agree the stats are saying that unemployment is 0 in the Free State. Even if we can bring a 3 trillion investment, they will never say it. Because it is not in their own nature, they are not wired to think like that. They think when we maintain the status quo in terms of what existed pre-1994, that is when they are representing their constituencies. We want Van der Merwes of this province to work with us to rebuild this country. We want Van der Merwes of this country to work with us to
You can
rebuild
sit
this
down
country.
now, okay? You.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to ask Honorable Sagifi, can he take the question? The question is that
You're asking if he can take a question first. Can you take a question?
okay,
Nah.
okay.
And as we ask Van der Merwes to work with us and the lawyers and so on, we must thank the principals in some of the white schools that are embracing inclusivity, that are embracing integration, that are teaching our children that they can live together, black and white, colored and Indians, that are telling them that the future belongs to all of them, not in terms of the politics that are represented by the parties that is supported by their parents. We want to urge them that for us to change things in this country, we need to have a common ownership and work the economy together. It can never belong to one group. And when we make change, including on the issues of land, it is not white genocide. It is not marginalization of the minority. The lies of the DA have got to come to a stop. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Acting MEC may now reply.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to really thank members of the Legislature, members of the Executive in their participation in the debate. Some of the responses or some of the points that have been put through, they are quite progressive, and I think the department is taking note of the inputs that have been made. However, it is important, Honorable Chair, that a person who's standing on behalf of MEC Maboya, who has just received the speech about hours before she came to the podium, I got an opportunity to go through it. And I'm sure if opposition members had listened to the speech itself, they would have understood it's only one paragraph where we speak about matriculants. The rest of the speech focuses on ECDs, training of teachers, training of our practitioners, making sure that there's psychosocial element of our learners is taken care of. Therefore, for us to indicate that the focus is on matrics is a fallacy of the highest note, because it's only one paragraph if we have read, but because we came here to the House already prepared our questions without necessarily understanding and knowing what was going to be on the speech. Even when we hear progressive issue, we are unable to navigate and change the tune. Like a record, you are told what to say, you must just come to the podium and say it as it is, or else Menier is going to hit you very hard when you go back to caucus. But we are not there. What we need to deal with is that when we speak about issues of gender-based violence, we agree in principle as the movement, as this particular collective led by Premier Letsoa Mata, who has been actively leading issues related to gender-based violence. Just yesterday, she was in Belfontein, speaking to young men and women about the dangers of bullying, how young people should become the agents of change in terms of the work that we do, specifically focusing on learners. No, it can't be that when we come to this podium, we really want to act as if gender-based violence is somebody else's responsibility, is all our responsibility. And indeed, in the budget vote, the department makes explicit that there is a particular program that is focusing on that particular issue. On infrastructure development, we will hide nothing from the masses. In actual fact, the budget speech itself makes reference to our challenges in the infrastructure delivery. And I'm very happy that through you, Honorable Speaker, that Honorable Leach make reference to issues relating to distance of learners from home to schools or traveling distance. It clearly indicates that she now knows how it felt like during the apartheid regime. We are today building hostels to close the gap. Already in the speech, we are indicating that Orange Grass Hostel has been completed. Construction is done. The kids who are staying in that particular area in Khabi will be moving into that particular hostel because we are completing it. We are saying hostel in Tabong is almost 85%. That means by the end of this particular financial year, we would have Lebanon, they would have completed. But clearly it tells you that when you are given a script, you don't even listen, you don't even want to hear anything, you just come to the podium and say what you have already scripted before you even come to the podium. Honorable Speaker, and to conclude, the contract in reference to the school that you are referring to, I've been informed by the department that contract has been terminated. Therefore, you can be rest assured that that particular contract has been terminated. In relation to data from the ANC party, the department is indicating that there is no such a school in the Free State province. Now, you really need to get our facts proper, but over and above, for future purposes, the department will give clarity in terms of detail during the portfolio committee, because I'm surely you serve in that particular portfolio committee. Honorable Speaker, we have indicated that school safety is quite critical. We have indicated that our kids' safety is paramount. And the department is indicating that it has a particular program focusing specifically on school safety. I'm not sure what exactly colleagues were expecting, but if they've got rather better ideas on how government or how the department should collaborate, they're more than welcome to bring those particular initiatives. Chair, I'm sure honorable members are asking themselves what is sitting next to them. There are beautiful packages prepared by learners from a school called Seotlo. This is an agricultural school that we fail to appreciate that at least in the Free State province, we are navigating towards what we call our economic driver, which is agriculture. In actual fact, they have done beautiful packages as shown by the Premier, and I think they deserve a round of applause. And we want to thank them for feeding members of parliament today. I'm sure we will not return those beautiful packages. They're just saying, we want to share with you what we are producing in our schools. Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, part of what Mema Boya, as a doctor, whom has received his PhD focusing on mathematics, she's a mathematician. Her focus and her passion, and I'm sure members of the portfolio have managed to share with her of her experience this particular aspect, that her focus is on foundation phase. Her passion is on ECDs, because her perspective in as far as basic education is concerned, which is something that she shares with us, that you will not prepare a child at matric level. We need to make sure that the foundation is secured, is safe, is focused, is deliberate and intentional in terms of the output that you want to achieve at grade 12. So there is no way that in the programs that have been affirmed by the department, the priorities that have been affirmed by the department, that our focus is primarily on matriculants. But as a department, or as a collective led by the Premier, we work
Honourable
in
MEC,
collaboration.
May I just have a seat, Honourable Lichi?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. As already indicated, that a question can just be asked. I just want to ask the Honourable MEC whether she's aware that 12.5, 4.1 and 5.8% of trick textbooks.
Can I raise on a point of order?
What is the point of
The
order?
permission has not yet been granted for her to ask the question. She should first seek. No, I'll sit when it suits me. When you ran away from public accounts,
You may ask that question. This is not affecting your time. You would choose whether to ignore or, and not respond to it. Honourable Member.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Let me then rephrase before I was interrupted. I just want to know, is the MEC aware that it was reported that only 12.5%, 4.1% and 5.8% of learners in grade 6, 9 and 12 respectively had access to the required math textbooks? Thank you.
You, Honourable Member, you had your time to speak, and those are the issues that you will raise. And now you participating in the debate, okay? Honourable Member, you may continue.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. The member will have an opportunity in the Portfolio Committee or to write to the department if she wants a response to that. But here we're discussing the budget speech, and I'm responding to issues that they have raised during their own inputs here. As we ha re kgerela dipuisano tsa gompieno, rata go leboga like jaaka ke tlhalositse go leboga botlhe ba ileng gore ba participated in the budget speech, but most importantly we want to gear up our work on a right footing by really appreciating our SGBs, our learners, our parents, and communities at large. In this particular budget vote, we take note of the fact that in 2024-2025, Free State came yet number one, and the opposition continues not to appreciate. We're saying for the first time in the history of South Africa, the entire matriculants have bypassed the 90% pass rate throughout the country. These are beautiful stories to tell because, unfortunately, because of the positions we hold, we will never appreciate the good stories even if our own children are participants and active participants in these particular stories, because those matriculants, they come from different classes, different races. Even the kids of this particular side of the house, most probably, they wrote matric, their families wrote matric, they were celebrating with them because of the initiatives and the hard work of the Department of Basic Education. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
On behalf of the legislature, I would like to make a disclaimer that the legislature shall not be responsible for any activity that may arise in this house using the gifts that you have received to honourable members as weapons of mass destruction during the debate when there is any disagreement. So those packages must remain closed. No one is allowed to open the packages. Wawana mahe atameo kena kamuna legala tana kama he kamuna kamukogele shebilenga. So you are not allowed. Honourable members, I would now ask before we proceed to the reading of motion 2, that the chief whip should arise and give the report that he was giving for record purposes and noting now.
Thank you, Speaker, for the opportunity.
I just wanted to alert the Speaker that the Public Accounts Committee received confirmations from all the departments that their budgets have not changed. And also, the Committee on Budget and Oversight has also received confirmation from the Legislature that the budget has not changed. Now, the reports for the two committees would also include the attachments on concerns particularly from the Democratic Alliance in relation to the concerns that they've been raising against those budgets. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. That will be for noting. The Secretary shall now read motion 2.
That the second reading debate on the Appropriation Bill B4 of 2025 be continued. Vote 12, Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation.
The vote before the House is vote 12, Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation. The Honorable MEC, Mayor Sifuba, may now address the House.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, colleagues in the Executive, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Chair of Chairs, Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable members of the Free State Legislature, Executive Mayors and Councillors present, representatives of the House of Traditional and Khoisan Leaders, representatives of the Free State Sports Confederation, sport federations, as well as heritage, arts, and culture councils, management, and officials of the department, Ba'aiba Freistata, Bommeli Bontate, comrades Dumelang. The question about the role of sport, arts, and culture in the broader national discourse landscape of our country has been interrogated and ventilated for quite some time. Our post-apartheid democratic constitution, as well as the National Development Plan, have crystally pronounced the centrality of the role that sport, arts, and culture plays in the advancement and development of our society. The current emerging challenges within our nation state and within global arena have yet again catapulted into the public arena the need to revisit this question. The question of nation building and social cohesion as central pillars for societal development have come back to confront us. Honorable Speaker, we present this budget vote 12 of the Department of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation at the time when the national question debate has been heightened by developments both in our country and the world. The unity and cohesion of our nation state is under scrutiny and is being challenged by these developments as the world is engulfed by concerns about economic development and growth in view of the tariff wars that have been unleashed and what we consider to be key priorities in addressing economic imperatives of our time. The role of nation building and social cohesion tends to take a backseat. As we table this budget vote, we will, however, argue that that approach is wrong. In addressing the centrality of nation building and social cohesion in societal development, Joseph Stiglitz, in his seminal study entitled, open quote, Globalization and Discontents, close quote, strongly argues that without social cohesion and nation building, there can be no economic progress and prosperity. In a situation of conflicts, wars, violence, and disunity, there can be no economic investments by corporates and states. Honorable Speaker, a case has been made for sports in particular by our late former president, President Mandela, when he asserted that and I quote, "Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does," close quote. Sport, arts, and culture, therefore, serves a powerful antidote to an environment which is characterized by unity and lack of social cohesion. Sport is a tool for the announcement of a national unity. The clarion call for national unity and social cohesion has also been foreshadowed by the Freedom Charter, a prelude to our post-apartheid Constitution and Bill of Rights, whose 70th anniversary we are celebrating this year. As the crafters of the Freedom Charter asserted the injunction for opening of the doors of learning and culture, in their own wisdom, were cognizant of the pivotal role national consciousness that could be achieved only through cohesion and unity as facilitated by learning and culture. This month we pay homage to the youth who sacrificed their all to contribute to the freedom that we are enjoying today. The 2025 Youth Month is celebrated under the theme Open Code Skills for the Changing World, Empowering the Youth for Meaningful Economic Participation, close quote. As we confront the current challenges that are thrown at us by the national and global currents, we need to take our minds back to those forebearers who gathered in Cape Town in 1955 and be guided by their wisdom. It is against this backdrop that we table this budget vote for the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture and Recreation. We would also, in the context, like to bestow our gratitude to the late stalwart of the liberation struggle who has just passed on, Mme Gertrude Shope. We thank her for the pivotal role that she has played in our liberation that we enjoy today. The social cohesion and nation-building mandate is achieved through both programs of sports and recreation as well as cultural affairs. It will therefore be befitting to honor our legends in the two sectors. This exercise will be undertaken this year. The 2025-26 budget allocation, Honorable Speaker, of the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture is 666,075,000 rands. On Program 1, which is Administration and Financial Management, Honorable Speaker, the Administration and Financial Management Program is allocated 118,276,000 rands for 2025-2026 financial year. Through Program 1 interventions, we have continued on a mission of contributing towards realization of a capable, ethical, and developmental state, as well as the imperatives. Although the road towards the realization of this vision has been rocky due to tight fiscal environment, the department has made headways. The filling of critical vacancies remains a challenge. The filling of critical vacancies remain a challenge, but we are happy to announce that the very critical vacancy of Chief Financial Officer has finally been filled. During the MTF period, we intend to fill the positions of Director for Human Resource Management, Manager for Internal Control and Finance, Director for Heritage Museums and Language Services, as well as Manager for Occupational Health and Safety Specialist at Infrastructure Unit. The vacancy of Assistant Director, Performance and IT Audit has been identified as a critical vacancy that is needed to enhance the capacity of our internal audit unit. Training and development interventions have also continued to be implemented with strategic objective of ensuring availability of the much-needed skills and expertise. These interventions also provided growth and career opportunities to individuals in and outside the department. Towards that goal, 17 CAT-SITA internships were provided, giving opportunities to young people to train in the department since November 2024. 29 bursaries were awarded to officials of the department to enhance their skills. In 2025-2026, we will continue with these interventions. We plan to appoint 20 interns from the 1% skills levy. would also forge ahead with the appointment of the 140 expanded public works program field workers through the arts and culture program. As in the previous financial years, these workers will be placed in all districts for a period of 12 months under the Arts and Culture Directorate. Honorable Deputy Speaker, as we have reported before, budget constraints remain a factor in the department's ability to fulfill and carry out its mandate of social cohesion and nation building to the fullest. Of the total budget of 666,075,000 rands allocated to the department, only 36.2% of the budget is dedicated to service delivery programs, while the remainder covers compensation of employees. Dependence on conditional grants, again, as we reported previously, remains a risk factor. On Program 2, Cultural Affairs. Honorable Speaker, the Cultural Affairs Program is allocated a budget of 143,038,000 in 2025-2026 financial year. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano, ha re teka ditekanyetso tsena, re rata ho nka monyetla ona o lebisa tlotla le tlhompho ho e mong wa dipapadi tsa rona tsa sefalaneng, Tate Pesa Pheko, a ileng a bula ka sehloho. Setupu sa hae se ile sa fumanwa ke mapolesa ka mora nako e telele ya ho nyamela ha hae. Tate Pheko e ne ile mong wa dikwakwariri dipapading tsena tsa sefalaneng, mme a hlaheletse ka mahetla ho tsona. Re le lefapha re sebetsa mmoho le bohle ba nkang karolo ditabeng tsa dipapadi tsa sefalaneng, mme re tla etsa bonnete ba hore lebitso la hae le tswela pele ho tuma ho ya ho ile. Re tla tswela pele ka ho tshehetsa le ho ntshetsa pele dipapadi tsa sefalaneng tsa lapeng, e le hona ho tlotla le ho tumisa lebitso la Ntate Pheko. Ha moya wa hae o robale ka kgotso, mme le toka e phethahale. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the current global economic and political environment is likely to have negative impact on our own national fiscus. This state also has the propensity to affect us from carrying out our mandate of social cohesion and nation building. It is perhaps then essential that we should invoke African intellectuals such as Ngugiwa Thiong'o, who has just recently passed on the 28th of May 2025. Time and space will come when we'll pay a befitting tribute to this African intellectual whose recent passing on has reverberated around the world like a baobab tree falling with thunder in the forest. Ngugiwa Thiong'o addressed the issue of African cultural sovereignty and heritage in his literary life works, most particularly so in his seminal literary work entitled, open quote, Decolonizing the Mind, the Politics of Language in African Literature, close quote. In this classical work, Wat Thiong'o argues that, and I quote, the biggest weapon wielded and actually daily unleashed by imperialism against that collective defiance is the cultural bomb. The effect of a cultural bomb is to annihilate a people's belief in their names, in their language, in their environment, in their heritage of struggle, in their unity, in their capacity, and ultimately in themselves, close quote. Through Cultural Affairs Program, we would want to be more deliberate and intentional in our quest to reawaken the African spirit through promoting indigenous local knowledge systems as we fend off what Thiong'o refers to the cultural bomb. Theatre, literature, and fiction that he asserts to be the vehicle of knowledge and development as well as cultural heritage have continued to receive prominence in our province. However, we will be the first to acknowledge that we need to be more deliberate, intentional, and escalate our interventions in this space. In the 2025-2026 and the MTF period, we will continue to advance and build the following achievements of the previous years. In line with the Heritage Landscape Transformation Objective, we have taken the following concrete steps. On the 18th of March 2025, the public hearings on South African Geographical Names Council Bill reviews were held in our province in partnership with the Geographical Names Changes Council and the National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. This review process will now intensify and ensure the conscious interventions in the naming and renaming of our geographical landmarks and public spaces. The geographical names changes a process for renaming of St. Duplessis Street in Ordinals Rest to Sipo Mutsi and R26 Road to Andrew Mlangeni in Bethlehem is underway. This process will be finalized this year. The South African Heritage Resources Authority conducted a competency assessment of Provincial Heritage Resources Authority in terms of National Heritage Resources Act number 25 of 1995, and Provincial Authority was found to be competent to execute its duties and ensure compliance of the Heritage Resources Management legislation. We will, in this financial year, intensify our support to this structure to ensure that it carries out its mandate of transforming our heritage landscape to its fullest. The department has been part of the process of renovation of Winnie Mandela Museum in Winnie Mandela Town, working together with the National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. The project to renovate Winnie Mandela Museum continues. Furthermore, 32 outreach programs that reach women, youth, and disabled people in a quest to entrench the understanding of the importance of our museum and heritage were rolled out. 70% of attendees of our outreach programs were females, mostly in the rural areas of our province. We will continue to work hard to escalate this participation rate amongst our community. In order to promote our national symbols, patriotism, and nation building during the outreach programs, a total number of 15,000 brochures were distributed comprising of national symbols and orders: South African National Anthem, African Union Anthem, desk national flags, preamble of the Constitution, and museums brochures. More work will be done to create awareness of our national identity and symbols in our communities. Our national unity and cohesion are at stake, and we need to be combative in its defense. Amongst other milestones, the department recorded in the museum and heritage space are the following. The department formed part of the coordinating team for the repatriation and reburial project, which was led by the National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. The two families of the departed exiled military veterans, Mr. Johannes Tautau and Mr. Ishmael Wadle, have respectively traveled to Lusaka, Zambia on the 29th August 2024 and to Livingstone, Zambia on the 7th September 2024 for preparation of the repatriation of the mortal remains of their family members. The homecoming ceremony of these two martyrs was held at Freedom Park from 26 to 27 September 2024. The program was addressed by President Cyril Ramaphosa. The department is currently in the process of coordinating the process of establishing a provincial task team to facilitate the provincial homecoming ceremony to be undertaken in the current financial year 2025-2026. Mokete wa letsatsi la botjhaba o ketekilwe lebaleng la dipapadi la motseng wa Meqheleng, Ficksburg, ka la di 24 Lwetse ka selemo sa 2024. Mokwete ona wa letsatsi la botjhaba o ne o eteletswe pele ke motlatsamopresidente mohlomphehi Paul Mashatile, mme bahai ba fetang dikete tse 6 ba bile teng moketeng ona. Re tla boela re keteka tsatsi lena la botjhaba hona motseng o wa Moqheleng ka kgwedi ya Lwetse selemong sena. A community conversation and science excursion were held in Bloemfontein on the 17th of October 2024 in collaboration with Department of Education. The program was held for learners from across the province, and these are learners specifically involved in values in education programs. This program will continue to be implemented this year as part of the quest to imbue heritage knowledge amongst our learners. We further hosted the South African Museum Association National Conference from the 3rd to the 5th September 2024. The conference was attended by more than 80 museum practitioners from across the country. A concerted intervention has been made to incorporate people with disabilities into our Heritage Museum and Language Services program. From 12th until 14th December 2024, an annual disability program was also held together with over 600 people living with disabilities. Honorable Deputy Speaker, as part of the infrastructure revitalization program and to advance the heritage transformation landscape in our province while celebrating our cultural heritage, the Vaihook Wesleyan School Church, which, as we know by now, was declared as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, will be upgraded with new exhibitions through the National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. Similarly, the resistance and liberation struggle women who were incarcerated at Bizamagate prison will be memorialized through the rebuilding of a memorial wall in Kronstadt. This institution is also part of the Liberation Heritage Roads. The tourism impact of our museum and heritage services is underscored by the fact that our museums still attract a high number of visitors. To date, the number of people who have visited museums in 2024-2025 is 28,817. Museums including Basotho Cultural Village to attract tourism from within and outside the borders of our province and the country. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano ka unity ya lefapha la ditshebeletso tsa puo re finne seletu re ntshetsa pele thomo ya kgodiso ya dipuo ka hare ho province ya rona. Sena re sietsa re ikamantse le molao wa tshebediso ya dipuo wa Freistata. Lefapha le se le kgonne ho fihlela tse latelang ntshetsong pele ya thomo ena. To advance literature, reading and writing amongst young people in general and learners in particular, and creative writing workshop was conducted for 50 learners who are budding authors at Maralaneng Secondary School in Ficksburg. The department hosted the General Terminology and Orthography Collaboration Session in Kwakwa on the 26th September 2024. International Translation Day was celebrated in Bloemfontein on the 3rd October 2024. Furthermore, a book launch for the COVID-19 terms was conducted on the 27th of November 2024 as part of terminology development interventions. General Terminology and Orthography Collaboration Session was held in Kwakwa on the 26th September 2024. The celebration of Dr. KPD Mapala Literary Works was held in Bethlehem on the 7th March 2025. Dr. KPD Mapala is one of our foremost literary giants in Sesotho literature field. We will continue to celebrate him on an annual basis, including this year. Honorable Deputy Speaker, in order to continue to consolidate and advance our mandate around language transformation, we will, during the MTF period, construct the Sesotho Literature Museum. Currently, the museum is housed within the National Afrikaans Literature Museum building. This arrangement does not augur well for the language that is the most spoken language in the province. We therefore need to ensure that we accord respect and dignity to the Sesotho language by having a proper literature museum that preserves and promotes Sesotho literature. The upgrading and maintenance of the National Afrikaans Literature Museum will also take place this financial year. To assist the Free State provincial government departments to implement the use of Free State official languages Act will ensure continuity of an interdepartmental language forum to promote the coordination, cooperation, and consultation between departments and provincial entities. We will this year also commence with activities leading towards the review of the Free State Government Provincial Language Policy. Awareness around the use of Free State Official Languages Act, Free State Provincial Government Language Policy, and the South African Sign Language Act was rolled out to language practitioners at the Central University of Technology, Velkom campus on the 13th March 2025.
Honorable Speaker.
Sorry, I don't see who is that. Oh, yes, Honorable Foko.
Honorable Speaker, ke botsa MEC rena o ready ho nka potso. Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Honorable Member, will you take your question? You may continue.
Asizawufundisa, Deputy Speaker, kongxaki. When a member is presenting the budget, you don't interrupt and ask questions. So I cannot take a question.
Then you may continue.
Deputy Honorable Speaker, in terms of arts and culture programs implemented in the last financial year, our local artists have benefited from following programs, amongst others: Free State Community Arts Centers Development Program, Free State Clap and Tap Choirs Competition, EPWP Arts and Culture Program, DSACR Visual Arts Program, Mangaung String Program. The following Arts and Culture District Festival were also hosted: Ulucha Theatre and Dance in Festival in Kwakwatsikopis from the 1st to 5th August 2024, Sirumula Youth Arts Festival in Paul Room from 20th to 27 October 2024, Gospel Music Competition in Tabong Velkom on the 23rd November 2024, Minyabukezo Heritage Development Program in Putadichaba from 20th to 23rd March, Folkloric Festival in Tabanchu from 21st to 22nd March 2025, the Harib District Festival in Jacobsdal from 22nd to 23rd March 2025. The Free State Homebrew Festival is one of our flagship programs. The festival was staged on the 20th to 23rd February 2025. Homebrew showcases the best developing, promising artists as well as semi-professional Free State talent. During that festival, a total number of 210 artists participated in this program. 60 temporary jobs opportunities were created. Honorable Speaker, in the 2025-2026 financial year, the above programs will continue to be rolled out at a greater momentum. Through our music institution of Musicon, we will this year implement music training programs from 11th to 12th July, solo singing competitions from 22nd to 23rd August, as well as stage the mid-year concert from 26th to 27th July. Visual arts and crafts program will be implemented in Lijolipuza district and Fezile Dabi, Tabomfusanyane district during the financial year. We celebrated Freedom Day in the province, which took services to the people in Ward 17 in Mangaung, as led by the Office of the Premier. The 2025 Heritage Day celebration will be hosted in Mikeleng, Fixburg. We will further implement the following arts and culture projects in the 2025-2026 financial year: Battle of Municipalities Talent Search Program, Homebrew Program in Bloemfontein, Clap and Tap Festival, and Legends Awards. Honorable Speaker, as the Honorable Deputy Speaker, as the Honorable Premier pronounced during the 2025-2026 State of the Province Address, the Mangaung African Cultural Festival, Makufe, will be implemented in collaboration with the private sector. The importance of this festival in our cultural and tourism landscape has been underscored by many people. During the financial year, we partnered with and supported several independent arts and culture organizations, programs, and festivals in 2024-2025 financial year. We will this financial year continue to support various awards that recognize the artists in various genres in our province. In partnership with the National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, as well as the National Film and Video Foundation, the Free State Film Hub will also be constructed in Bloemfontein during this period. The work towards the establishment of the Film Hub project has started. The film industry has demonstrably proved itself as one of the major contributors of the economy and development. We will therefore prioritize this intervention. The upgrading and maintenance of Mabana Arts and Culture Center, as well as previously mentioned, the Afrikaans Literature Museum, will take place this financial year. Program 3, Library and Archive Services. Honorable Speaker, the Library and Archives program is allocated the budget of 251,314,000 rands in 2025-2026 financial year. 75% of the budget of this program is conditional grant from National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. The Freedom Charter's clarion call for the opening of the doors of learning and culture receives a resounding expression through the Library and Archive Service program. Through this program, we have continued to provide educational opportunities and research resources to learners and the broader communities of the Free State. Access to reading materials, physically and digitally, continued to be provided uninterruptedly. The following outcomes and impacts underpin the interventions that the department has made in this regard. The Rijabuka Reading Festival was successfully implemented from May to September 2024. Through this festival, the visually impaired reading skills were showcased and young adults also tested their skills in public speaking. Prizes were awarded to participants in positions 1, 2, and 3. In 2025, the program will be implemented with the inclusion of visual programs to support digital transformation plans. 298 million rands will be allocated towards this project for the 2025-2026 financial year. Support for Black youth and women authors. While the budget for procurement of library material has been reduced, local authors and women book suppliers will continue to be supported with about 20% of the budget. In 2024-2025 financial year, 258,863 rands was spent towards women, youth, and local authors. 2.8 million will be allocated towards the library material for 2025-2026 financial year. Technological advances. Internet connectivity is already provided to 170 libraries. However, the department seeks to enhance connectivity in libraries with regards to Wi-Fi and broadband. The department is working towards ensuring that all libraries are able to provide Wi-Fi to the local communities. 7.7 million will be allocated towards connectivity in libraries in the 2025-2026 financial year. Plans are also in place to replenish computer hardware in libraries. 1.8 million will be allocated for procurement of computer hardware for libraries in 2025-2026 financial year. Services for the visually impaired. 1.5 million will be transferred to the South African Library for the Blind to maintain, manage, and monitor the 30 mini-libs established within some libraries. These mini-libs will be used for developing audiobooks in indigenous languages for the visually impaired. The South African Library for the Blind is in the process of appointing 2 narrators from the Free State on a 3-year contract. Payment of the salaries will be handled by the South African Library for the Blind. The South African Library for the Blind has also donated one narration studio, which is worth 441,772 rands. There is an undertaking to donate a second studio towards the end of the year 2025. A newly built library in Kribing, Wepener, will be officially opened and handed over to the community in July 2025. This library is yet another rollout of the much needed infrastructure services that benefits our communities. Honorable Deputy Speaker, on Program 4, Sports and Recreation, the Sports and Recreation Program is allocated a budget of 153 million 447,000 rands. In 2025-26 financial year, as we outline the milestone of the last financial year in terms of the implementation of our programs, we would like to particularly dedicate this section of the speech to our athletes who have continued to place Free State on the map and also capably flew the flag of our country in continental and international sport competitions throughout the years, and in the last financial year more specifically. These athletes are too numerous to acknowledge and celebrate them by name. In the last budget vote speech, we reported about what we termed the positive rekindling and rejuvenation of the sport and recreation environment in our province since the onset of the 7th administration. This spirit of rekindling and rejuvenation was in the context of hosting a major national and international sporting events in our province, such as Bafana's FIFA World Cup qualification matches, as well as the international rugby test match between South African national rugby team and Portugal. We are happy to announce that since the trajectory of sports development in our province has reached a crescendo in its upward trend. Currently, the province is hosting the Confederation of South African Football Association Cup, COSAFA. The games have already started on the 4th of June, and 13 countries are participating in the tournament. The following legacy projects will benefit the province: Under 15 Boys and Girls Program, which will be conducted by Mark Fish; medical workshop for local ABC Mutsipe clubs; internship program in media to benefit 5 interns, as well as another 4 in marketing at CUT. Sport administration workshops will also be conducted. Medical students from the University of the Free State will work with dedicated doctors who will provide medical services during the games. 40 learners have been identified from schools around Mangaung to serve as ball retrievers. On the 5th of September, the province will further host the Bafana FIFA World Cup qualifier game against Lesotho. And on the 9th of September, Bafana will again battle it out against Nigeria in our province for the same FIFA World Cup qualifiers tournament. The staging of all these international and continental sport tournaments is indeed a strong and clear manifestation of the ground we have prepared for our province to be the sport arena. Honorable Deputy Speaker, this financial year also started on a very high positive note as the province hosted important national sport championships. From the 2nd to 5th April 2025, the province hosted American Express National Tennis Junior Championships in Bloemfontein. From the 2nd to 7th April 2025, we simultaneously hosted the Autumn National Schools Mainstream and LSN Championships for both swimming and athletics, guided by the Memorandum of Understanding entered into by the departments at national. The Autumn National Schools Mainstream and LSN Championships were staged under a very strong, formidable partnership between our department, the Free State Department of Education, the National Departments of Sports, Arts, Culture, as well as basic education. More than 2,000 learners represented the diversity of our country in terms of race, gender, as well as disability. They took part in these championships. The Free State achieved the bronze medal position in athletics and 4th in swimming. Honorable Speaker, as part of the quest to engender a positive sporting environment and to ensure that sport thrives as part of broader objective of enhancing social cohesion and nation building, school sport has become paramount. The Autumn National Schools Championship that we have just hosted in the province are a culmination of an enduring effort by our department and the Department of Education to ensure that sport becomes a prominent feature of school environment. Guided by the National Sport and Recreation Plan of 2011, as well as White Paper on Sport and Recreation of 2013, we have consequently achieved the following outcomes through school sports in the last financial year. 130 schools were provided with sport equipment and attire. The majority of these schools are quintile 1 to quintile 3 schools in all the districts of the province. The aim is to encourage the participation in all areas, especially townships and rural areas. and will provide 180 schools with sport equipment in this financial year. 300 educators and sport volunteers were trained in various coaching, umpiring, refereeing, and administrative qualifications. 545 learners were supported to participate in various national school sport championships in 2025-2026. 360 learners will be supported to participate in championships. Our efforts to entrenching school sport have borne fruits to have been demonstrated through the excellent performance of our athletes in school sport and competitions. Our resolve to improving regular participation of school sports to lower grassroots levels. This regular participation is in the form of inter-school activities and leagues. Honorable Deputy Speaker, sport equipment entire were handed over to the community sports hubs during the hosting of provincial indigenous games on 26 September 2024, notwithstanding the challenges that the budget has. And in 2025-2026, we'll continue to provide 6 sport hubs and 150 clubs with sport attire. The Nelson Mandela Challenge was hosted in Zastron in July 2024, and we further supported the Netball Federation to participate in SPAR championships in Johannesburg. The OR Tambo Games were held in Velkom, Machabeng in October 2024. We'll continue to hold that event as we mark the month in which the stalwart Honorable Ntate Oliver Tambo's birthday. We'll continue with that program. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, we need to continue to argue a case for concerted investment and in capitalization of sports, arts and culture interventions, which are in the heart of social cohesion and nation building. Yes, indeed, our country is confronted by enormous socio-economic challenges, particularly in this global environment characterized by particular geopolitical developments and economic trends. However, the socio-economic transformation of our society will not be complete with the mandate of sports, arts and culture lagging behind. Let us take lessons from the Chinese economic development and miracle, which was predicated and predated by its cultural revolution. For us to realize the totality of development, which takes into account nation states, cultural dynamics must be embraced. Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, may I, in conclusion, take this moment to extend our fraternal gratitude to all our partners and stakeholders who continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with us as we steer this ship to the much needed, to the much anticipated destination. My thanks go to the head of department, management of the department, and all officials, including staff in my inner office, for continuing to roll up their sleeves whenever duty calls. I further would like to extend our appreciation to the Premier, Honorable Makwin Litsuha Matai, as well as colleagues in the executive for the continued support of comradeship and collegiality. We'll also like to extend our gratitude to the Free State Legislature for the guidance and making sure that they hold us accountable for the work that we do. Let me also thank my organization, the African National Congress, for trusting me with this responsibility that carries such a big mandate. Lastly but not least, I extend my appreciation to my family and friends for allowing me space and time to dedicate myself to the cause of our people whose pressing needs are primary. I thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The MEC, Honorable Sifuba. Honorable members, I thought it's important that I advise members that in line with our legislative decorum and also in line with Rule 117 of our rules and orders, we are discouraged to interrupt a member when they are tabling a formal budget. If there are any questions that need to be asked towards the member, you are then allowed to raise those questions during the debate, and That is, if the member who's debating would then take that question. I thought it was necessary that I should just remind members of our rules and orders. We then proceed. Our debate ensues to our speakers list. I will now recognize the Honorable Mahlatsi.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, members of the Executive Council, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Chair of Chairs, Honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, I stand on the protocol which has been established. Honorable Speaker, some years ago, an author called Karl Marx wrote and explained the concept called alienation. He explains it as a process that is deeply, let me rephrase. He explained it as deeply intertwined with the theory of exploitation. Describes how capitalism separates workers from their labor, their products of labor, and from themselves and their fellow human beings, with emphasis on separation from other humans, which includes separation from the family and partners. This is where I would like to start my debate, Honorable Speaker. Some years ago, after years of staying in a men-only compounds in the mines, trying to get money to pay for the forced taxation which was introduced after 1913 Land Act, many men found themselves alienated from their partners when retirement, injury, or debilitating sicknesses arrived, and they were chased back to the labor reserve camps, which were the homelands by then. They were complete misfits when they arrived at their home, and they were judged very harshly as absent fathers without going to the root of the problem. And, Honorable Speaker, this budget seeks to go to that extent to address the root of the problem of our society, which has got the anomalies. And most of it, Honorable Speaker, originates from the historic alienation which was introduced by our colonizers. The side effects of alienation, artificial intelligence, which is being ushered now, technological advancements are such that interpersonal relations are going to be the casualty. And that will have implications on issues of building a healthy family unit. If we could get the basic unit of society right in the form of a family, several anomalies would self-correct. The basic issues are to bring back human interaction. We need to reconnect as human beings, firstly, through families, and secondly, through societies. Honorable Speaker, when writing for the International Journal of Preventative Medicine, Chidibiere Okechukwu wrote the following. He said, sport in a social context can be defined as a type of leisure time physical activity organized to improve physical, social, emotional, mental well-being amongst the participants. Due to the relevance of sports in a social framework, participating in sports activity and associated with psychological and emotional benefits, such as improvements in mood and self-esteem, social interaction, social integration, social bonding, and overall mental well-being. Social sports should be promoted effectively because of its relevance in public health, ability to improve quality of life, reduce all cause of mortality, and the occurrence and consequence of chronic diseases and disability. Close quotes. Sports play a crucial role in health promotion, Honorable Deputy Speaker. by improving physical and mental well-being, preventing and managing diseases, and fostering social connection. They provide opportunities for regular physical activity, which is essential for cardiovascular health, muscle strength, overall health. Additionally, sports contribute to mental health, which reduces stress, anxiety, and improves the mood. Here is more detailed look at the role of sports. Physical health, mental health, social health, physical and mental impact on communities. So the sports, Honorable Speaker, has an impact on all those items that I have outlined. I would like to give a direct request and call to the Honorable Sifuba to say, please continue to play a role in bringing back to life just one part of Siwelele, which is a team that practices and brings us joy in the field through playing soccer. I have observed that everything about Siwelele remains intact, and the only missing thing is 11 players and the technical team that goes into the field. The songs are still being composed. The zeal is still growing. It is unbelievable that the team is no longer there, but the passion is flaming hot. It's flaming hot. Honorable Speaker, last Saturday, I was in a town which should be called Winnie Mandela, but some continues to demand that it be called Brantford. And I went to attend a funeral of Memutaung, who is a health worker who lost her life whilst in the course of duty. May her soul rest in peace. But what I saw there, Siwelele was in full force and rendered a very emotional item. It was really humbling, Honorable Speaker, to realize that we still miss the boots in the field, and yet the spirit is that high. Honorable Sifuba, please pick up the pace in assisting that Siwelele should come back. Our people really need that. Honorable Speaker, a man called Chinua Achebe, when penning a book called Things Fall Apart, he had one of his characters commenting that now he has won our brothers and our clan can no longer act like one. He has put a knife on the things that held us together, and we have fallen apart. Honorable Speaker, our culture is the glue that kept us together. Now that a knife has been put on our culture by colonialization of a special type, some sections of our community, specifically those who are African, have been pushed through structural violence, manipulated into hating themselves, which includes violence, manipulated into hating everything that is black, including black, which includes themselves. The ANC-led government has a responsibility to restore this. As people, we should love ourselves despite the color of our skin. When one watches the news daily, there is so much violence and acts of hatred between Africans. People will quickly dismiss this as a black-on-black violence and pretend that the history of alienation of Africans from their land, from their culture, from their heritage, from their conception of a family, which is completely different from the one of the West, wants us to accept, and the practice is the main cause. I stand to support the budget in totality, Honorable Speaker, and its trajectory that will seek to ensure that all South Africans reconnect with their cultures and traditions for the benefit of the whole and not only for the benefit of a particular privileged section. Honorable Speaker, we have a project with the CUT as the Department of Health, which seeks to preserve African knowledge in relation to treating illnesses and sickness. And this project is getting to an even higher level, which seeks to restore the indigenous knowledge of our people. We had a very well-established ecosystem in this country before we were subjugated through a barrel of a gun. As led by the African National Congress, we employed reconciliation to correct the anomalies of the past. of the past through reconstruction and development program. Unfortunately, the people who perpetuated and benefited from colonialism of a special type are throwing it into our faces, even claiming imaginary genocide in the country. I'm certain that we are learning something as this country and as the ANC on this matter. We are a country with indigenous knowledge. We were not discovered, Honorable Speaker, by some hungry sailor desperate for fresh water, fresh meat, fresh water, with his ship sailing across just on the borders of Africa. We are a country and we are a land. The land that we walk and live in is a cradle of humankind, which dates back 3.5 million years ago. We have contributed to human development, and our history is not going to be brushed away just like that. We stand our ground and will preserve our culture and heritage. We are supporting our indigenous knowledge, even in the health space. Our forebears have been kept alive and healthy and well by the indigenous knowledge, and we welcome the effort to preserve such. Honorable Speaker, recreation is very crucial in the overall well-being and encompassing physical, mental, and social benefits. It helps manage stress, improve mood, enhancing productivity, contributing to a balanced and fulfilling life. Recreation also fosters community cohesion. Honorable Speaker, we support the recreational aspect of the budget, which will seek to assist us to address anomalies like child and teenage pregnancy. The planning that we inherited, which because of the backlog of keeping the Africans away from the economic active areas and dumping them into African labor reserve camps, which are still prevalent, which were homelands then. The backlog of racial service delivery could not give us a space to start everything afresh. Those are still stark reminders of our past. Our people are still living in areas where people are crammed together in locations and not in human settlements, despite the efforts that the African National Congress has done up to this far, but the resources are not allowing that we can correct everything. And Honorable Speaker, in closing, the budget seeks to build patriotism through the elements of national unity like the flag, national anthem, and others. We feel that that should be supported. The budget seeks to support national cohesion to introduce cultures of different ethnic groups to all of us and dispel the narrative that other cultures are barbaric and others are important. I passionately believe that should our national building activities have succeeded, had it been that colonizers had lifted a finger towards national building, nation building, reconciliation, and the unity of our people would have been completely at a different level. We would not have 49 privileged individuals climbing on a plane to a self-initiated exile and becoming refugees in the United States for an imaginary genocide. Did the Good Samaritan in the US see the situations which have been prevailing in our country? There are a lot of incidents we could have provided if he was willing to consider that. But the problem is that his mind was set. Honorable Speaker, we believe that this budget would assist us to deal with the anomalies, including the GBV. Thank you very much.
Honorable Klute.
Thank you, Speaker. When I saw the eggs earlier, two thoughts crossed my mind. First, did I prepare for the wrong department, MEC Rockman? I didn't. And second, perhaps the ANC was reminding us of how they broke the egg, or the eggs, promised us an omelette, and delivered, well, an empty pan. But thank you, MEC, for the symbolism. So today I'm not going to walk on eggshells. I'm very concerned how we speak with each other and about each other sometimes in this house. Op 'n ligter noot net minder as 'n maand gelede het Afrikaanssprekendes Afrikaans as 'n amptelike taal herdenk. Op 8 Mei 1925 het C.J. Langenhoven 'n wetsontwerp by die Kaapse Parlement ingedien, suksesvol om Afrikaans as 'n amptelike taal te erken. En 100 jaar later herdenk ons dit nog. Vandag is Afrikaans die 3de grootste taal in Suid-Afrika. And the MEC, it's good that the Sesotho literature get its own museum. Build more, don't break down. But MEC, and this brings me to the budget, for how many years has your department been renovating the Winnie Mandela Museum? Maybe it's time, Honourable Squabella and Honourable Gwabane, we start probing into that and ask the real questions. What exactly is going on at that museum, and how many taxpayers' money has already been spent into it? Speaker, lies are most dangerous when they hide behind the appearance of truth. So let's talk about truth. MEC, you know as well as I do, Nullen is not a provincial mandate. I was hoping you would deal with the state of the Free State Athletic Stadium and the Free State Stadium, which has now been downgraded to a Grade C stadium. What has your department been doing in this regard? Speaker Langenhoven het gesê, moenie luister na die man wat sê ons moet as 'n span saamwerk nie, want eintlik bedoel hy dat ons soos hy moet werk. Don't listen to the man who says we must work together as a team. He actually means work the way he wants. And that warning is still true today in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Honourable Foko.
Honourable Speaker, ke swabile haholo ke tswa mokgahlong wa MK Party ho utlwa hore department ho na le dintho tse di sa di tsebeng tse etsahalang lefapheng le around the Free State. Let me start, Speaker, through you, not howling in this house. Speaker, we are not a ruling party. We are an opposition party. Opposition party, Speaker, ke mokgatlo wa bohanyetsi in Sotho. Re tshwanetse ho hanyetsana le ntho tse leng hore di a etsahala tse leng hore ha di a loka. In Free State, we built 11 multi-purpose sports centers for various sports like soccer, netball, and volleyball, but those multi-purpose, they are not serving a purpose. So, Honourable MSC, through you, Honourable Speaker, ke nako ya hore o tshwantse re eme ka maoto re lokise dintho tse leng hore ne di sa lokiswa nakong e fetileng. Ke ka hore le mokgatlo wa bohanyetsi ha re lokiseng dintho tse leng hore ne di sa lokiswa nakong e fetileng. Ke bua tjena, Honourable Speaker, ka mabala a dipapadi e leng hore a teng ka Free State e leng hore ha sebediswe le ona a tshwana le dikolo tsa ntse ke buileng ka tsona hore they are dilapidated. Ke mabala fela hoba re na le mabala a dipapadi hoba ho hauwe ho tsona dibaka tsena kaofela, ho hauwe matlo ho tsona mo tshwantseng e be teng ke mabala a dipapadi. Ha ke tloele ena, Honourable Speaker, ke bue tabeng ya tsa culture ya hore ha re kgutlele morao re tsebe setso sa rona, re rute bana ba rona setso dikolong mane, re kgone ho tseba ba kgone ho tseba hore na re tsamaya jwang le dipapadi moo. Ha re kgutlisetseng dintho tsele tsa rona bo diketo, bonkgono ba bapala diketo mane ba bontshe bana ba rona hore na dintho tsena hantlentle di etsuwa jwang. Ke tsona dintho tsa setho tseo tso tshwantseng re le parlamente re kgutlele ho bona re lo ba jwetsa ka tsona hore na o tshwantse re sebetse jwang re le puso e busang. And ya o qetela ha ne ke re ke batla ho botsa potso mane honorable
Unfortunately, your time is up, Honorable Foko. Kadula Fats.
ene le ya hore na re
Honorable
kgutlisaneng
Foko.
sewelele sa rona. Thank you.
You may take your seat. Thank you. I'll now allow the Honorable Werner Pretorius.
Agbare adjunct speaker, ek groet vanmiddag die agbare lede en die inwoners van ons geliefde Vrystaat. Die Vrystaat is 'n provinsie wat gevul is met ryk erfenis, kultuur en diversiteit. Die provinsie het nie 'n tekort aan sport, kuns, kultuur, talent nie. Dit is baie duidelik in elkeen van ons stede, ons dorpe en ons landelike gebiede. Hier is 'n oorvloed van menslike kapitaal, talent en bereidwilligheid. Adjunct speaker, die sleutel wat die Vrystaat benodig om hierdie talent te gebruik en te ontwikkel en te benut, is goeie fasiliteite, infrastruktuur, programme en ook goeie bestuur. Waar daar omgewing geskep word, sal hierdie geleenthede aangegryp word deur die inwoners van ons provinsie. Speaker, 'n kind wat die geleentheid gegee word om deel te kan neem aan 'n drama-kompetisie, 'n musikale uitvoering, 'n kunswedstryd, 'n atletiekbyeenkoms, 'n sokker of 'n netbalwedstryd, 'n skaaktoernooi of 'n debat, en of hierdie deelname op provinsiale vlak of op nasionale vlak is, daardie deelname gee aan 'n kind waardigheid. Speaker, ek wil dit beklemtoon, deelname aan sport, kultuur en die kunste is gelyk aan waardigheid vir ons kinders en ons jeug. In 'n provinsie met ongekende vlakke van armoede en ongelykheid, is die uitbou van waardigheid van elke persoon uiters belangrik. Veral die waardigheid van die mees weerlose in ons samelewing, kinders, bejaardes en mense met gestremthede. Agbare speaker, dit is waar die rol van hierdie departement so belangrik is. Hierdie departement het die sleutel om hierdie toegang en waardigheid te gee aan die inwoners van ons provinsie. As die 660 miljoen rand wat geoormerk is vir die 25-26 boekjaar reg spandeer word, kan dit 'n blywende impak hê op die inwoners van ons provinsie, sowel as die byna 2 miljard rand wat geoormerk is oor die MTF periode. Die sleutel lê net daarin dat hierdie gelde reg aangewend word. Speaker, as die Demokratiese Alliansie wil ons 'n Vrystaat sien wat uit haar nate bars met geleenthede vir ons mense wat betrokke is by sportaktiwiteite en die kunste, en waar hulle kuns en kultuur ten volle kan uitleef en trots wees daarop. Dit alles binne 'n raamwerk met die oog op fisiese en psigiese gesondheid, ekonomiese groei en werkskepping. So op die einde van die dag, hierdie departement moet toesien dat die mense in die Vrystaat fisies gesond is en psigies gesond is, sowel as werk skep en die ekonomie help groei. Agbare speaker, dit is egter ongelukkig dat ons inwoners van ons landelike dorpe ongelukkig nie basiese fasiliteite het nie. Dit is 'n jammerte dat op elke plattelandse dorp waar ek oorsig gaan doen, ek oorval word deur inwoners, nie-regeringsorganisasies en raadslede met klagtes oor die agteruitgang van hulle sportstadions, hulle paviljoene, hulle kleedkamers en hulle geriewe. En nie om eers te praat oor die openbare swembaddens nie. Ek haal aan, agbare lid, ons dogters wil netbal speel, maar kyk hoe lyk ons bane, sê 'n plaaslike raadslid in Edenburg. In Bethlehem wys 'n distrik raadslid vir my Bakenpark swembad wat verorber word deur 'n berg rommel. Op Tierpoort stop 'n verkeersbeampte, en dis nou 'n verkeersbeampte van die provinsiale departement. My vra vir my, agbare lid, kan ons asseblief aandag gee aan die oppervlaktes van ons sokkervelde in Tabanshu en Botshabelo. Ons kinders wil graag sokker speel op velde wat gelyk is. Ons worry nie, ons is nie bekommerd oor gras nie. Ons wil net op gelyke velde speel sodat ons nie ons enkels seermaak nie. Dit is die noodkrete uit die provinsie. Paas en maas, onderwysers en afrigters. Mense met 'n passie vir hulle kinders, mense met 'n passie vir hulle gemeenskappe, vir hulle sport en hulle kultuur en hulle dorpe en stede. Hulle wil deelneem, hulle wil trots wees en hulle wil waardig voel, maar daarvoor benodig hulle fasiliteite. Ongelukkig is die voortgesette verwaarlosing, vandalisme en gebrek aan instandhouding in ons provinsie duidelik. Agbare adjunkspeaker, deur u premier se FUBA, LER van Samewerkende Regering en premier. Julle sal by die plaaslike rade moet kers opsteek, ons plaaslike munisipaliteite, oor die swak bestuur van ons sport en ons spanningsgeriewe. Ons kan nie toelaat dat alles in duie val nie. Daar word hierdie rooskleurige prentjie geskets oor sport en kuns en kultuur in die provinsie. Maar solank as wat ons plaaslike rade, ons local government, if they are not providing sufficient facilities, our children and our youth will not be able to fully reach their potential. Agbare speaker, die DA hou die ontwikkeling van die veeldoelige binnehuis sportsentrum in Smithfield fyn dop. Hier beoog die departement om byna R57 miljoen te spandeer aan die binnehuise sportsentrum. Ons verwelkom hierdie sportsentrum in die platteland, maar ons is erg bekommerd wanneer hierdie multimiljoen rand bates oorhandig word aan plaaslike entiteite, soos die Moakari munisipaliteit, wat nie eens basiese dienste soos water en vullisverwydering kan lewer nie. Speaker, soos wat ons nasionale kinderbeskermingsweek afsluit en ook gedurende Junie maand die jeugmaand vier, moet ons onsself afvra waarom daar so 'n groot probleem by ons landelike kinders ontstaan met betrekking tot verslawing aan dwelms en alkohol. En die antwoord is baie eenvoudig. Daar is bitter min tot niks vir ons jeug om te doen na skool op die platteland nie. Al die geriewe is tot niet. Die departement van sport, kuns en kultuur sal saam met ander departemente moet werk, sowel as die privaat sektor, nie-regeringsorganisasies en ander sfere van regering, om seker te maak dat ons kinders na skole fasiliteite het om deel te neem aan die kunste sowel as sport. Die DA het al baie ons kommer uitgespreek oor die Vrystaatse atletiekstadion hier in Mangaung, die toestand wat agteruitgaan, sowel as die Vrystaatse rugbystadion wat onlangs na klas C stadion gereguleer is, sowel as die Johnson Bendile stadion in Batu, Gobelspark in Dislabeng, die Boks Arena in Botshabelo, die Charles Mupeli sokkerstadion in Maluti Apofung, sportgeriewe in Mapodi en Madigetla in Kopanong wat uitmekaar uitval, en openbare swembaddens in Botshabelo, Bethlehem en Gariepdam. Indien hierdie bates reg bestuur word, kan die bates inkomstes genereer vir die munisipaliteite sowel as die inwoners van die provinsie. Verskeie sportkodes het onlangs gedurende die Aprilvakansie na Bloemfontein gestroom en dit het broodnodige ekonomiese inspuiting na die stad gebring. Reg oor die stad was verblyf vol bespreek, restaurante was gepak en winkelkomplekse het uit hulle nate uitgebars. En dit wys net weer eens vir ons die belangrike rol wat sport en kuns kan speel tot die ekonomiese bydrae van die provinsie. Speaker, die verskywing van die Vrystaatse Sportwetenskap Instituut, die FSSI, bly 'n bekommernis vir die DA, aangesien 'n nuwe perseel nog nie geïdentifiseer is waarheen die instituut moet verhuis nie. Die toekoms van die FSSI moet oorbesin word in die lig van die Nasionale Opleiding Instituut en Olimpiese Sentrum, die NTC, wat geoormerk was vir ontwikkeling in die Vrystaat. Van die 56 miljoen wat reeds op die projek bestee is slegs planne vandag te sien. Die toekoms van die FSSI en die Olimpiese Sportsentrum is onseker. Veral die Olimpiese Sentrum, aangesien daar geen aanduiding is oor die toekomsplanne nie. Indien die Nasionale Departement van Sport, Kuns en Kultuur en Ontspanning nog 'n aptyd vir die projek het, moet alle belanghebbendes betrek word om te verseker dat die beskikbare fondse, bates en kennis optimaal benut word ten bate van die hele provinsie. Speaker, die DA was nog altyd eens dat die Mangaung African Cultural Festival, Makufe, uitgebou kan word tot 'n astronomiese bate van die Vrystaatse regering en die inwoners van die provinsie, mits Makufe effektief bestuur word en grootliks en baie belangrik, finansiëel selfonderhoudend is. Vir byna 3 dekades het Makufe duisende rande en duisende toeriste gelok na Bloemfontein. En dit was 'n groot ekonomiese inspuiting vir die provinsie gesien. Ongelukkig, en is 'n groot jammerte, het Makufe later ontsuur deur beweringe van korrupsie, binnengevegte en ongeruimthede. Die DA doen 'n beroep op die agbare LER en haar departement om Makufe te herverbeel en seker te maak dat dit weer eens 'n bate word vir die provinsie wat werk skep en ekonomiese groei na die Vrystaat bring. Maar baie belangrik dat Makufe grootendeels self onderhoudend moet wees. 'n Voorbeeld van die wesenlike impak wat 'n kunstefees kan hê op 'n stad soos Bloemfontein in die provinsie is die onlangse KAK&K wat die Klein Karoo Nasionale Kunstefees. Volgens navorsing in 2024 het die KAK&K 89 miljoen rand se direkte ekonomiese inspuiting na die klein plattelandse dorpie van Oudtshoorn gebring. So dit is net weer eens bewys na wat so groot ekonomiese bate kunstefeeste en die kunste vir die Vrystaat provinsie kan wees. Speaker, die toestand van ons provinsiale museums.
Honourable member, may you take your seat? Yes, honourable member.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Can an honourable member be honourable to take a question from me?
Will you take the question, honourable member?
Honourable Deputy Speaker, if I'm finished with my debate, I will take a question.
Granted.
Agbare Young Speaker, die toestand van ons provinsiale museums laat veel na wense oor. Die DA bly erg besorg oor die minimale toekenning van fondse vir die onderhoud en opgradering van ons museums regoor die Vrystaat. Die ou goewermentsgebou en die ou presidentsie benodig dringende herstelwerk aan die dakke en geete. En die ou Fort Militêre Museum bly grootliks gesluit met onkruid wat hoër as die panservoertuie groei. En by die Wesleyaanse wêrelderfenisterrein wat nie sy naam gestand doen nie. Speaker, dit is wel verblydend om te hoor in vanoggend se toespraak deur die agbare LER dat daar wel fondse beskikbaar gestel word vir die herstelwerk aan die ou goewermentsgebou wat die Dingolweng Sesotho Literêre Museum sowel as die Nallen Museums huisves. En ons verwelkom ook as die DA die LER se onderneming dat die Sesotho Museum ook 'n permanente tuiste sal vind, want Sesotho is net Afrikaans, een van die Vrystaat provinsie se bates, se kultuurbates en dit moet bewaar word. Speaker, ongelukkig het ek onlangs redelik baie besoeke gedoen aan verskeie provinsiale museums en is ons provinsiale museums in 'n slegte toestand. Toeriste, en ons het gehoor die agbare LER het gepraat oor die getalle van die groot getalle toeriste wat na ons museums gelok word, maar ek is baie onseker oor wat die toeriste by die museum sien, want by meeste van die museums is daar nie kurators wat hulle van inligting kan voorsien nie. Ons was in die week by die ou fort gewees en hy's gesluit weens, soos ons verstaan van personeel, 'n rioolprobleem en die gras is net so hoog. Agbare Speaker, hier doen ons weer eens 'n beroep op die agbare LER en haar departement om ons museums te herverbeel. Reimagine what our museums can be in the province and the economic benefit it can create. Betrek die privaat sektor en kultuurorganisasies en maak daarvan 'n sukses tot voordeel van die ekonomie, toerisme en werkskepping. Speaker, ek sluit af. Vanjaar vier ons Afrikaans 100ste jaar as amptelike taal van Suid-Afrika. Met om en by 6.5 miljoen moedertaalsprekers van Afrikaans, vier ons die wonderlike leefwêreld wat Afrikaans skep in die kunste, die akademie, die sport en die sakewêreld. 'n Diverse taal van versoening, 'n taal van drome en 'n taal van werk. Die DA sal hom aanhou beywer vir die behoud en uitbou van Afrikaans in die Vrystaat en Suid-Afrika, en so ook alle ander tale van Suid-Afrika. Soos ek reeds genoem het, is Afrikaans soos Sesotho 'n groot bate van die Vrystaat wat ten volle benut moet word. Speaker, ek sluit af met wat ek ag as die maatstaf waarin die departement se sukses of mislukking gemeet sal word. Die departement van sport, kuns, kultuur en ontspanning sal daarin gemeet word of hulle binne die volgende finansiële boekjaar 'n beter en nouere band kan sluit met die plaaslike regerings om te verseker dat ons sportgeriewe in elke liewe dorp in hierdie provinsie op 'n aanvaarbare vlak kan wees, sodat daar sport aktiwiteite kan plaasvind en dat ons kinders kan deelneem en waardigheid kry. Die fisiese en psigiese bydrae wat hierdie departement kan bydra tot die gesondheid van ons inwoners, om ons mense te verenig en om geleentheid te skep vir ekonomiese groei en vir werkskepping in ons provinsie. Ek dank u.
My question.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I will now recognize Honorable Squebela.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I rise this afternoon on behalf of the African National Congress to affirm that investing in sports, arts, culture, and recreation is not only necessary, but it is a revolutionary step towards an inclusive, united, transformed, and prosperous South Africa, especially here in our beloved Free State Province. As the African National Congress, we place on top of the agenda and as a priority the issue of transformation in heritage, name changing, which is rooted on the broader goals of redress, recognition, decolonization, and nation building. The ANC sees this as an essential part of reshaping the South African post-apartheid identity and restoring dignity to historically marginalized community. Therefore, we welcome the declaration of the ANC birthplace via Wesleyan Church as a World Heritage Site. And also we agree with the name changing of St. Duplessis Street in the Ordinal Series to Sipho and the R26 road to Ndrumlange. More, however, we support as well the preservation and promotion of Sesotho literature as the department will construct the Sesotho Literature Museum whilst we maintain and whilst the department will maintain and upgrade the National Africanist Literature Museum, which the ANC is not a one-sided organization that favors one language over the other, but seeks to create an inclusive society with all different languages and traditions and cultures. All these initiatives are part of the heritage landscape and language transformation in making public spaces to be inclusive and reflective of the country's history. The ANC agenda does not seek to discriminate anyone, but to construct an inclusive society for all. And moreover, the ANC-led government, guided by the Freedom Charter, the National Development Plan, which is Vision 2030, and our manifesto of 2024, we continue to emphasize the importance of opening the doors of learning and culture for all. Let us begin where our policies begin, with our founding principles, the Freedom Charter, the moral and ideological compass of the ANC, declared boldly so that the doors of learning and culture shall be open. This was not merely poetic, it was a clear demand that every South African, regardless of race, gender, and their location, must have access to instruments of self-expression, creativity, and participation in the national life. The same commitments lives on in the ANC Manifesto 2024, where we pledged to do the following. One, to expand access to community-based arts, sports, and recreational facilities. Two, to use creative and cultural industries to stimulate youth unemployment. Three, to transform sports sector to ensure representation and equity. Four, to promote indigenous languages, all of them, and preservation of cultural heritage, irrespective of which culture or language one speaks. And the MEC's budget speaks directly to what the ANC Manifesto of 2024 speaks to, and the Freedom Charter. And also, the MEC's budget is also aligned to the National Development Plan, because as the ANC-led government adopted the National Development Plan, which also dictates a significant attention to these sectors. Because the National Development Plan is crystal clear to say that sports plays an important role in promoting wellness and social cohesion. Arts and culture can foster dialogue and healing nation. And that is outlined on the different steps in the plans, what the plan proposes. But the ANC believes that we cannot talk about transformation and growth without investing in the engines of identity, unity, diversity, and the well-being. Some may argue, of course, that we are faced with more urgent issues like your unemployment and crime. But in the same breath, we should be able to state that the investment in arts, sports, culture, and recreation addresses the very problems at the root cause, which are part of what we need to invest on. So some of the issues that we need to understand with investing in these sectors, or the public investment in these sectors, is one, the issue of what the MEC has outlined, the 6 sports hubs that are going to be given attires and equipment, including the 150 clubs, the combi courts that are going to be built, 2 in Kharib, 2 in Thabo Mfutsanyana, including the enhancement of technology in the 170 libraries. All of these building sports infrastructure and build at the community level, including the issue that we must be able to understand that these facilities is not just about facility, but the department is building unity, safety, and pride. Again, on issues of talent and transforming lives, we must understand that when we are supporting this budget, we are supporting developing talent and transforming lives. We know that talent alone is not enough. It needs training, exposure, and mentorship. And we thank the MEC for the 300 educators and sports volunteers that were trained in various aspects such as coaching, umpiring, refereeing, and administrative qualifications. We stand on a firm view that a child in a township must have the same chance to join a soccer league or a drama club as a child in a suburb. This is about equity, dignity, and access. Of course, sports, arts, and culture, or these sectors, they can also play an important role in the drive of economic growth and job creation. And in South Africa, the creative industry and cultural industries account for 3% of South Africa's GDP and supports 1 million jobs. This accounts for 6% of employment in the country. Yet the sector has the capacity to significantly grow this contribution as the investment that is done by the MEC with the numbers of the budget that have been tabled. Of course, I think the MEC Matla spoke on issues of wellness I am not going to dwell into that. But what we must understand, as far as advancing social cohesion and national pride, indeed, from Siwelele that exists in our minds, our heart, in the streets of every corner of this province, that without the team being on the field, to the Free State Cheetahs, to the Griffons, to VKB Knights, to the Free State Cranium. It is through our different sports teams and artists that we see each other, celebrate each other, and learn to love each other. In a country that continues a healing process from racial divisions, we must invest in the spaces that bring us together on the field, in the studio, and in the theater, or in the park. Let us be clear that allocating funding to these sectors is not just a cost, but it's an investment. If one were to ask a question to say that, what is it, if we're not funding these sectors, what is it that we're losing? And the answer is simple. We are losing our identity, we lose the talent, we lose young people to the street, we widen the gap between the rich and the poor. And that itself, it will be a betrayal of our democratic promise. Again, I would want to invite, I would invite Honorable, through you, Deputy Speaker, Honorable Pretorius, to just to go and look what is happening at the different townships where field sports have been played. You go from Machabing, whereby the foundation led by Pulemaile, where they have different tournaments, Masters League and all sorts. You go to in Paris to Maole, Edgar Foundation, that is leading tournaments. You go to Nyakalong, Zona Annual Soccer Tournaments. You go to Ramuluzi, Kali Motlaudi tournaments. You go to Matabelo, you have Batukara tournaments and others. This is where people, they gather and play sport all over. It's a myth that fields are not being used, and there are no people that are playing that. But we must say that both government and private sector must come together to assist these initiatives. And also, what I want to deal with, the issue of, we must clarify the issue to say that the Free State Stadium has been downgraded to level C. I think honorable members must put it correctly so that it must not be a misinformation how they are putting it. The issue of the classification of the Free State Stadium, it is because of a new venue classification system that puts stadium to category A, B, and C. And as a result of those different categories, it's a matter of priorities of international test messages as far as Springboks are concerned. It has nothing to do to say that Springbok cannot come and play here, but it's a matter of priority of which games can be played there and which games cannot play. Springbok can still play at the Free State. It does not mean that it cannot play. Rugby teams, they are still playing. Free State Cheetahs play, they are playing. Griffons, they are playing. It does not mean that the stadium is not playable. But as far as the new system has been introduced, it does not mean that the Springbok cannot play in those particular games. As far as the museums are concerned, I think the MEC has highlighted to say that close to 28,000 people, they have visited the museums in the Free State. That's a huge number. If you were to, and these people, they are learning about the history and what the history that is reflective of all the things that have happened and things that they need to know as far as culture and heritage is concerned. And again, we can't only speak about the Africans. We must, honorable member from DA, we must speak about all the languages. There are 12 official languages, sign language included. If we were to promote one language over the other, it means that we will be biased. But if we are to build an inclusive and developmental society, we must speak about promotion of all languages without prioritizing one over the other. That would be a genuine call to say that you are committed to the development of the society and you want to ensure that all languages, they develop equally and no language that takes preference over the other. I can agree in issues of swimming pool, not everyone would want to be a swimmer. Even myself, I don't want to be a swimmer. I would want to play ball, I would want to run. There are different sports and codes. But in areas where there are a high demand of people who want to swim, swimming pools can be created. But we all know and understand that the Department of Sports, it is less budgeted as far as its infrastructure budget is concerned. Of course, issues of vandalism, they are everywhere that they happen, but security must be tightened off. So, in conclusion, we do not see these sectors as culture and recreation as luxuries. We see them as instruments of justice, levers of development, and mirrors of our souls as a province. Let us invest. Let us transform, let us uplift, let us open the culture of the doors of learning and culture and wide and forever. We affirm and support the budget as tabled by MEC Zanelis Fuba. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable MEC may now reply to the debates.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I think our point of departure when we tabled this budget, we did highlight the fiscal constraints, that the budget is not enough. Would love to do more, but because of the budgetary constraints, which were cited even by the MEC for Finance when he was tabling the budget. Honorable Mahlatsi, you are correct. If you want to divide the society, you create disunity within the families. That takes me back to during the time of the apartheid, that we were unable to go and stay with my father. My mom could not be with my father where he was working because it was male's quarters while he was married. So that was a way of making sure that they are dividing the families. If you divide the families, you divide the communities, and then you have a divided society. So that is why we always make the call for social cohesion, not only for particular race in South Africa, but for all the people, because if we'll be able to build our country, we need to come together and be able to say, where do we take South Africa? Hence our reference to the Freedom Charter, which says and states that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white, because we have a responsibility to move this country forward. The issue of Bloemfontein Celtics, oh my God. Bloemfontein Celtics is, Nelson Mandela once said, when he was asked if South Africa is going to adopt a socialist economy, and he said, it doesn't matter whether the cat is black or white, as long as it kills the mice. To us as the department, it doesn't matter who brings Bloemfontein Celtics back. As the department, we are behind the bringing of Bloemfontein Celtics back, and we will support it. And the support does not necessarily mean resources, financial support, because as the department, we are not allowed, or there's no legislation that allows to spend money on buying of the club. Yes, we are aware that there are moves or efforts to bring Bloemfontein Celtics. And we are committing as the department because we know that that is the legacy of the people of the Free State and the people of Bloemfontein. So as the department, we support the efforts because the supporters of Bloemfontein Celtics, they are still there wearing the colors of Bloemfontein Celtics. As much as we are supporting also the Marumo Gallants, that has brought the games back. And if you also look in our to show that we are about the support of sports and sport development in the province. We have in our speech the support of the SAABC Mutsipe League and also recreation programs to promote healthy lifestyle. We are supporting the athletes and teams that are there in our communities. We support women football this financial year. We also support the development of women boxing. So for us, we don't have a choice. But whenever there is an effort, we must get into that space as the department because it doesn't matter who brings the club, but that person who brings the club contributes to social cohesion that we want to see in the province of the Free State. Honorable Klute, this concern of sport facilities, and I will respond it to everybody who has raised it. Government or province, when we get money, we build these facilities. Sometimes national build these facilities, but in terms of the constitution, it is the responsibility of the municipalities to maintain those facilities. That is why we've always responded as such, even when we are called by the portfolio committee. And yes, this financial year, we are committing to build 4 combi courts. 2 will be in Kharib and 2 will be in Thabo Mofusanyane. And we are making a clarion call to the municipalities to say, when we have built these facilities, please take care of them. They belong to the people. As the department, we do not have the budget to maintain those facilities. And as far as the museums, we are aware these museums have been there for a while. And if you check fortunately you sit in the committee, Honorable Pretorius. You know our budgetary constraints, but we mentioned that we are renovating the Africans Museum. But in the same breath, we are saying efforts have to be made to make sure that there is strictly a museum that speaks to the majority of the people of the province, that is going to showcase the Sesotho language, which is spoken by 64% of the people who reside in this province. Makufe, yes. Makufe is Makufe in arts and culture. It's like Bloemfontein Celtics in soccer. The people of Free State, they still believe that they want Makufe back. That is why efforts are made. And I want to disagree when you say that Makufe failed because of the fights and the conflicts. If you look into it, it is the issues of budget. Makufe budget has decreased. Remember, Makufe was not supposed to be a once-off event. It's supposed to be an event that goes through, that is going to cover many arts and culture programs. But with the budget that we are having right now, we are unable to use that and make an impact that we would like to make as the department. That is why the Premier in the State of the Province address announced that Makufe will be held in collaboration with the private sector, and we are emphasizing that fact today, that we have to collaborate with other people in the same field of arts and culture so that we can be able to sustain that flagship of the province, that legacy of the people of the Free State. And we do cooperate and collaborate with other departments. And I think if you listen to the speech of Reddit, when we were talking about national school championships, we mentioned that the Department of Education was on board. There is an MOU at the national level. Hence, Department of Education was fully participating with the teachers from the department, accompanying learners to those games. And we collaborate with the Department of Social Development. There is an elderly club. The games that they went to, they were playing in the province, that were led, the provincial Golden Games were played at Dr. Rantai Mulimela Stadium. Those games, the elderly people were playing those games initiated by the social development. But because we are the department that plays a major role in sports, we came in and provided the attire and other equipment that they needed. So we are collaborating as the department. And also we mentioned that we celebrated the Freedom Day in Ward 17 when we took the services to the people. All the departments in the province form part of that activity. Each department brought the services that are needed in the community. But in the main, honorable members, I think your debate, as much as you are criticizing and showing us the areas where we're supposed to zoom in, we are saying where we can, we will, but where we cannot, we'll always be able to say, on this one, we cannot. But the emphasis should be made. Afrikaans is not the only language that must be given a priority. We are living in the Free State. We have the majority of the people here who are speaking Sesotho. So, Honorable Deputy Speaker, I thank you. And yes, we talk to the people that they must not vandalize these facilities. They must take care of them so that they can be able to uplift the communities and take people away, children away from drugs and crime. I thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, MSC Sefuba. Honorable members, before we move to motions, before you is a questionnaire sponsored by a student as part of his academic thesis. He goes by the name of Mr. Toriso April Taibosh. Now, I kindly urge all of you members to demonstrate support for this young scholar in taking a few minutes out of your busy schedules to complete the questionnaire. The participation will be meaningful, will be a meaningful contribution to the academic journey of this young man. Once you have completed those questionnaires, I would then request you to forward them to the Chief Whip. I'm not sure of the turnaround time, but I think the Chief Whip will then communicate that with yourselves. I thank you for that, honorable members, in advance. We then now move to motions. The Secretary shall now read motion 3.
That leave be granted for the House to grant Honorable D. Mkabela leave of absence for the period exceeding 30 days from the 16th of April 2025 until he is declared fit by the medical doctor to resume his legislative responsibilities.
Honorable Chief Whip, Mr. Khwabana.
Deputy Speaker, I move.
What does the honorable member propose?
I propose that the leave be approved by the House.
Any discussion? Any objection? Honorable Van Vuuren.
Chair, not an objection, the discussion, perhaps. I would just like us to confirm that, I mean, we don't know, we hear about this and we hear about applications and certificates, but we don't know anything about it. I mean, we must now take the word. I don't know if we've done our due diligence on this and if we've confirmed that this is really the stance and not just take it as provided to us. I actually just want us to do proper due diligence on this. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Chief Whip.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, yes, we received the medical report, and that's why we move for approval of the leave.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. The Honorable Chief Whip does have the report, and the leave of the sick note has been sent also to the Speaker's office. And I then think then we can then move forward with that matter. Any objection?
None.
Approved. The reply by the MEC concludes the debate on vote 12, Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation. Before the House adjourns, I wish to make the following announcements. That honorable members and guests should remain standing as the Sergeant at Arms, the Honorable Deputy Speaker and the Secretary leave the House. That guests should remain at their allocated seats while honorable members leave the House. That all guests are invited to a lunch. The House shall now adjourn until next week, Friday, the 13th of June, 2025, at 9 o'clock at the 4th Ratsal. And the business of the House shall be the consideration of the following budget votes. 1, vote 8, Coctam, and 2, vote 3, Distia. The House is adjourned.